Hey, what's going on, everybody in the YouTube world? Let me know
It'd
if
be
y'all can hear
beneath
me.
me if I didn't take this brief moment to
Wait, you can't. You
announce
can't
that
take the
Royalty
brief
Chef
moment
has
now,
the record
Salaki. I'm
out.
sorry. You can't take the. No, no. I'm sorry because I'm live now on YouTube as well. So my
Oh,
bad. My bad. You was about to promote. I ain't trying to stop your promotion. I'll make sure you get the promotion in. But he just sent me the link, so I'm gonna click the link. So I'm gonna be joining his stream now. All right, give me 1 second. All right, Akim, I'm about to hop into this cat's room. If y'all could just keep the noise down a little bit. All right, I'm here. All right, I'm here. I'm here. Beat my mic on his stage. All right, so to my YouTube folk, y'all know how it's gonna go. I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna present the screen. Bring us on the screen. The topic of this debate is who's done more harm to black people, us or white people. Should be a good debate. You know what I mean? Shout out to the sister down there in Baltimore, Wanda. What is her Hebrew name? Wanda Booth. I believe it's Wanda Booth in Baltimore. Look up on Facebook. She might have a Hebrew name on it. So I want to give her a Hebrew name. But she made this fire vest. You see, it says "Coat Leader" right there. If you don't see it, Coat Leader. That's what I am, a Coat Leader. So if you didn't believe it before, you should believe it now. Let me see that. The water. So on Facebook, now she does excellent work. She made the shirts too. So she does excellent work. If you want a vest, her name is Wanda Booth or Mathanya Yahawada. That's her actual Hebrew name, but you can search either one. Wanda Booth or Mathanya Yahawada is the name that you can search, and she'll hook you up. The water. All right, so I'm just waiting for Tommy to hop up in here. Once Tommy hops in here, we'll rock and roll. Let me see. I ain't never seen this option. Nope, not doing it that way. So we're just waiting. What do you mean by time frame? I'm assuming it's going to be, I don't know, 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, you got two black men that can clearly talk. I know I could talk and talk and talk. So we'll see how this joint go. Shout out to the brothers up here in New York City that came through the building. They always come through when I do these debates. Greatly appreciate it. I will take a few questions until Tommy comes in. I will take a few questions if y'all have them. If y'all don't, Passover is officially like 30 days. Hey, oh wait, let me unmute. I think he's jumped in here. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Tommy? I don't sound good. Yeah, you know what it is? Because I have a Windows computer with my mixer, and so occasionally it does that to where it sounds a little robotic, so to speak. Yeah, yeah, it does that occasionally. Um, so I figured I'd just let you know now. Um, yeah, yeah, we good to go. Yeah. The Captain Tazaryach of ISUPK is fine. I don't know if I need any more introduction than that. I think I'm good to go for the most part. I think I should be solid. I think so anyway. So I think looking forward to a good conversation. Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, yeah, you did. Yep, I got them. I definitely got them as well. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That works for me. All right. Okay. Not that one. All right.
Does it feel like it's fucking crooked?
All right, y'all. The reason why y'all couldn't hear Tommy before, I had to do the share screen, which I was trying to make sure I shared it properly. But y'all should be able to see the screen now. Let me check my channel. Let me check my channel and make sure we kind of good to go.
All right, it's moving funny, but it works.
I wish I could make this bigger. I wonder if I can make this bigger. Okay, there we go. I think that's bigger that way. I think I just figured out after all this time how to actually make it bigger. Look at God. I done figured.
All right, let me start everything up and we're ready to go. There.
Y'all have only been through like 7 of these sharing screens, and I just figured out how to stretch the screen to where when I flip it over here on my
Oh man, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Trying to make sure that everything is working before we get this thing here started. Let's see. Am I live over here?
Now let me make sure I got everything opened up that I need.
So give us a second to make sure everything is going, and then we'll be ready to go. All right, it appears it's okay. It's streaming on. It's streaming on Kick. All right, it's streaming on it's streaming on Twitter. I mean, God, there's so many of them. Twitch. It's streaming on YouTube. Hey. We got one more. Once it starts streaming on Rumble, we'll be ready to go. So that's all we're waiting on right now. So to stream on Rumble, and we're good. All right, we're streaming on Rumble. Everybody, we are good everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, I'm Tommy Sotomayor, and we got a one-on-one right now, and I'm happy about this one-on-one, proud about this one-on-one, and if anybody would like to, I don't know if Captain Tazaryach would like to talk to you guys. Y'all might just be a headache to him, I don't know, but if at the end of the show, y'all want to talk to us and possibly ask some questions, we'll ask it. I will allow you guys to come here. As y'all know, whenever I get some people who come on the show and they represent blackness a little bit more than me, I try to play a little song for them before they come on, just to let them know what level I'm on.
There you go.
So before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you guys go ahead and hit that like, hit that share, tell your friends that one of the best shows out there is on, and one of the best, I believe, one of the best interviews that I probably have had in a while, because people have told me this needs to get done. People told me he gonna kill me, he gonna destroy me. He's shaking his head. Oh hell! You can't do that in front of my own audience, but check it out. We're gonna get it started right now and bring him in. Let's give him a little bit of taste of that Soto Nation. So y'all shout my man out. Make sure you follow him over on Twitter. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. All that information is over on the website at tjsklc.com. I'm Tommy Sotomayor. Let's go. You a grown-ass man. You call me to troll me. Did you get what you want out of this? Did it make you feel better now? There's a difference. I don't bother people I don't like. And this is what you have to deal with niggas. What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
Niggas are the worst people on earth. I do understand why they made them slaves. I think one of the worst things that happened was they stopped making them slaves. As the slaves, we'd have built more shit. We'd have been better people. Whenever black people were under the oppression of white people, they did more. They were more productive people. Name the shit you built since being out of slavery. Name it. Name it. Let me explain. You claim you built DC.
You were enslaved when you did that.
You claim you built the railroads.
You were enslaved when you did that.
Everything you claim you built in America, it's when white people had the whip on your ass. What have you built since? Come on, what have you built since? Nobody wants to talk about the facts. Now all you do is go around and begging white people for shit. Y'all proud of? White people gave them to you. You didn't build them. What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
Did black people build Cabrini Green? Nope. Did black people build Capitol Homes? Nope. Did black people build Carver Homes? Nope. Did black people build O-Block? Nope. Did black people build any of these things you're talking about? 63rd, 62nd, 69th? Did you build any of that shit? Nope. Did black people build Compton?
What?
Did black people build Compton?
What?
Did black people build Compton? Nope. Let me explain. Black Wall Street. Come on, bro. Black Wall Street. Your ass ain't built Black Wall Street back now, have you? You got all these black millionaires and all these black millionaires who own clothing companies. You could have been built Black Wall Street back a long time. When you hear all these niggas love to go back to Black Wall Street, black people are lazy and ain't shit. This person said Black Wall Street. Sir, you remember what Black Wall Street was built under? Jim Crow. I'll let you go. What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What have you built? Give me the Black Wall Street 20 years in the last 20 years, the last 10 years. Give me that. Niggas can't put together some stores. Because that's all Black Wall Street was, idiot. Stores. Can somebody tell me if I'm lying or not? What was Black Wall Street? Stores. You mean to tell me
already ready to go already. Y'all see him up there shaking his head? He had to mute himself. He had to mute himself. Get on up in here, man. This is my man Tazaryach from the ISUPK, and I always ask, what did you think of what you heard?
I would like to say that I was surprised by listening to this song, but knowing a little bit of your history, I just was not surprised by. I almost expected you to kind of play something like that, because when I think about what we're going to discuss, I'm like, what else would he say but niggas ain't shit? Like I'm expecting you to say that. You took a weird angle though, because you said like everything they did had to do with slavery or something that we built during slavery. So that, you know, we'll talk about that in a second. If I could just introduce myself real fast, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please do. And please go ahead, jump in. I can't wait to get on this.
I appreciate it. So,
and introduce the topic as well. Introduce the topic too.
Okay, I got you. All right. So now I'm Captain Tazaryach of ISUPK under Commander Jenny Hanna. That's the leader of my organization. And how this debate came about, it was actually a brother in my school that was corresponding back and forth on Twitter with Tommy on like a similar subject. So of course, Tommy doing his usual niggas ain't shit rhetoric, you know, capping for the white man and everything like that. And Aisha was the brother that was corresponding with him. So when he tells me about it, I said, well, tell Tommy, let's have the conversation about who's done more harm to black people. Have we done more harm to ourselves, or has the white man? And when I say white man, it's not every single white person. So for all you white people, you don't have to get all in your panties about it. It's in general. So who's done more harm? Have we done more harm to ourselves, or has a white man done more harm to us? And Tommy, reached out to me. I actually spoke to him last week. Good conversation on the phone. And so I'm looking forward to a very spirited type of dialogue. I tell you what, you made me feel real comfortable playing that song. I'm going to remember that song. I'm just going to let you know. I'm going to talk about that song often. I haven't heard a song like that.
Send it to you so you can share it to your friends and get them to talk about that song. I need you to let your family hear it. I need you to bump that in the car when you're riding around.
I mean, you did.
I'm gonna need that.
You did that with such good conviction, man. It was amazing. So that's kind of the subject that we agreed upon was who's done more harm. Has white people done more harm to us, or we done more harm to ourselves? That's kind of how we got here with this subject. So, and I appreciate you bring me onto your platform.
Okay, so here's what we'll do.
Right.
After hearing the subject,
Mm-hmm.
well, first off, after hearing the song, we'll go there and then we'll move into the subject. The song made you think what? Like, where were the mistakes you heard in that song?
The mistakes that I heard. I thought it was dishonest, extremely condescending. It let me know the level of. I could see why you would take the side of have black people done more harm to black people, because that's what your song is meant to do. You think your song is meant to wake people up, but your song is indicative of why you believe that, because you would be one of those black people that is more harm to black people because you think that's awakening up. When I listened to that song, it let me know a brother that is desensitized to what the ancestors went through during slavery, post-slavery, segregation, integration, and up until now. And it represents why we have this continuous fight and why COINTELPRO is allowed to exist. COINTELPRO is allowed to exist because there's always going to be some black man or black woman that will side with the government over his own people. So that's what I thought when I said, damn, Tommy really siding with the government against his own people. That's what I thought when I first saw it. If I'm gonna be honest.
Now, let me ask you, are you a sports fan?
Absolutely.
What's your favorite sport?
I would say football. Football, because you got to do it all in one day like that. So I would say football.
All right. So you are a football fan. Now I got to ask you this question. As a football fan, who's your favorite team?
The Giants. New York Giants.
Oh, you know where I'm coming from then. You are more critical of the Giants.
Right.
You are of the 49ers, which is my favorite team. And I'm more critical of 49ers than I am of your team. I know y'all have a shitty quarterback in Daniel Jones, and I know y'all don't really have a backup for him. And I'm all right with that. I know y'all did Saquon Barkley wrong, and I'm all right with that.
Right.
Now, I don't really care what y'all doing, that I want y'all to lose. But when it comes to my Giants, I'm very critical of a quarterback that even took us to the Super Bowl last year. Now, you'd ask, why are you critical?
49ers.
Like yours.
You said Giants. I think you meant 49ers.
49ers, yeah.
Right.
I'm very critical. Now, you'd ask, well, wait a minute. You guys have gone far in the playoffs and did a whole lot in the last few years, and you've been a good team consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you hard on your team? Well, I'm hard on my team because I want them to win. So I would say things, and you might think, well, he's siding with someone else. But no, I'm not. I want my team to win the championship as often as possible. So if they're wrong, kissing their ass and saying they're great isn't going to make them better. Telling them that we don't need to get better at linebacker and defensive tackle isn't going to make them get better. And me saying we haven't won the championship since Steve Young won it is not making me look like a bad fan. It's an honest fan that wants to see them do better. So I ask you, when you say it seems like I'm siding with the government, If the government's whooping your ass, if my son was getting his ass whooped by the next door neighbor,
Mhm.
I might be siding with the neighbor's kid when I say he keep whooping your ass. You need to go whoop his. Until you whoop his, he's the better man in the fight.
Okay, but let's say you wouldn't go with the as a 49er fan, right? Excuse me,
Mhm.
even if you're a 49er player, you're not going to help the Giants be better than the 49ers, right?
Well, if I'm not helping them if I'm telling the 49ers,
No,
though.
I'm getting.
They're back.
I rock with your logic.
I don't want to trade. I don't want us to trade someone to make them get better. I don't want to help,
No,
and
that's not
especially
what
if
I'm
it's
saying.
a rival.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is everything you said about correcting the 49ers, I agree with.
Mhm.
But you wouldn't do that as a Giant, though, right? You would do that as a 49er, right?
Well, yeah, I would correct my 49ers. And if I had to do it in front of the Giants, I'd assume the Giants knew.
But what you do, though, is you go with the Giants and then talk trash to the 49ers that you say you love. That's what you.
Well, I'm not with. Well, you'd have to name how I'm with.
Even
like
when you
white
said,
people, how,
so even when you decide that you're taking the side that blacks are more harmful to black, as opposed to recognizing the condition that we in can only be pointed at one location, which is this government or this body that we've been a part of since we were taken over here as captives. We've never been. If you look at the diagram, if you just go from integration, which is what, the 60s till now, you're talking about maybe 70 years, but we've been here, they say, since the 60s. Even if you say slavery was before the 1600s, if we use the 1600s as an earmark, you're talking about 1600s to 1964. So that's 364 years of oppression, systematic oppression, 70 years of being so-called free, and even, integrated, which at the cost of integration, we still had the CIA crack epidemic, we still had COINTELPRO, we still had the feminist movement, we still had the drug epidemic. So it's not like they stopped attacking us. They just, air quotes, allowed us to so-called integrate. And even integration furthered black oppression. So when you make the analogy of the 49ers and you being a Giants fan, me being a Giants fan, I would never go to the 49ers and give them trade secrets on how to beat the Giants. I would never go to the 49ers and try to steal players from the Giants to make the 49ers better. I would only do what you said initially, but only do it within the Giants. Even when you said your kid is getting beat up by the neighbor, you're not going to stand on the side of the neighbor and say, yeah, beat my son up. You're going to stand with your son and give him the strength and the tools and the weapons to beat the hell out of the neighbor, unless you don't love your son.
So I would say that in the song, that's exactly what I'm doing. If I'm telling somebody, when have you won a championship? Because let me tell you who knows when the last time we won a championship. Everybody else in the league. It's not a secret.
Right.
When I say we suck at linebacker, I didn't tell them something they didn't know. They already scouted my team. So chances are when I say we need a new running back, we do. Christian McCaffrey's getting old. We're not dumb. The league ain't dumb. We do need a defensive tackle. Saying that out loud make them say, yeah, we're going to run more. As a matter of fact, people being critical of Kansas City Chiefs helped Kansas City Chiefs to win a Super Bowl because they kept telling them what they couldn't do, what they weren't good at, how you should attack them.
But they never sided with the enemy to help Kansas City get better. They never allowed
inside to be. Did have their quarterback come out and say he's sick of them dropping passes, and people were shocked that he did it.
No, but that's not a bad.
Never done it before.
But telling them that they shouldn't drop passes is not a bad thing. But when we look at the
some people said he should have done it in public. He should have done it in private.
Well, as the Bible would say, open rebuke is better than secret love. So that's not a bad thing. So that's not the bad.
Say that again. Now tell them where they can find that in the Bible.
I get it.
I like that. I like that quote. That's a very good
one. I don't
because if you think about it, it's a few quotes in the Bible that we like to make, but it's something to make because it turns the fingers back at us. We like to quote things that make other people look bad.
Right.
That's a good one.
It's Proverbs 27. That's Proverbs 27:5. It says, open rebuke is better than secret love. Now, what
Mhm.
you said on the subject, what makes what you did in that video on the subject do, and the reason why I said it desensitizes you, is it takes away from the fight that they did. No nation disrespects their ancestors' fight more than black people. Jewish people don't disrespect their ancestors' fight against the Germans. The Arabs don't disrespect their ancestors' fight against the Jewish people, but we do. So you said, what have we built? So if I was to just name a few, because I know you mentioned Black Wall, so that's usually like the famous one they like to mention. You got Seneca Village, you got Portsmouth, Ohio, Wyandotte, Michigan, Pollock, Louisiana, Salina, Tennessee, Comanche County, Texas. You got tons of cities. You even got cities now that today are lakes that were once black cities. And what happens is whenever we build up, there's always that same oppressor, that same white man that comes and tear it down. And then the war never stops. And we're always prepared for the war. The problem is people on our side will switch sides. And they'll join the other side. Like Fred Hampton, for example, when they did that movie, you could see how COINTELPRO infiltrates them. You'll see how they just when they released what Nixon and Reagan and all and was doing with the drug epidemic that was specifically targeted to us. Now, why do you think that is? You had two. I don't agree with their religious beliefs, meaning Martin Luther King and Malcolm. I don't agree with their religious beliefs, right? But you had two black men that was able to galvanize black people for a cause, because they'll tell you that black people didn't build anything, that they didn't do anything. And then what they did was they had COINTELPRO infiltrate the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X gets separated and then killed. Then you got the white man kill Martin. And at the time that he killed Martin, Martin is saying that the dream that he had was a nightmare, that it was superficial, letting you know trying to eat at master's table wasn't the right thing to do. And then he gets killed. And then at that break in the 70s, you had the feminist movement and the drug epidemic. And when crack came, it eradicated black people. And so if we're gonna not honor our ancestors that made mistakes and did good things, we'll never recognize the real enemy. And we'll never see it coming. That's why they still voting. People still gonna try to find a reason to vote for Joe Biden or vote for Trump. They're gonna try to find a reason to still vote, thinking that our hope is in that. You're familiar when President Biden got in office and the Chinese people got that bill passed? I think they got it passed in like if Biden got inaugurated in January, I think like 3 weeks when somebody attacked the Asian. They got the anti-Asian bill passed. You familiar with that?
Yes.
They didn't get that bill passed by joining America. They got that bill passed by using their internal power and saying, we won't support you, we won't build you, we won't help you. But because we have such a integrated type of mentality, that's why we don't think like that. We still find ways to join an enemy when he was never meant to be our friend.
Okay. Now, I would like to be able to speak towards that. Now, you talked about a lot of cities that you said were formed and I guess sustained by blacks, but then the white man came in and destroyed those said cities. You said every time that we build something, the white man comes and destroys it. When I said in that song, I said, if Black Wall Street was so important that we continue to keep talking about Black Wall Street was important, then we could have easily built it back. I went over to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and went there and I saw that there's a college called Langston Hughes College. And there's also nothing else. There's Langston Hughes College and a church. The land is cheap. Blacks could have bought it. We have a whole lot of celebrities with clothing lines and all kinds of stuff. They could have set that up and rebuilt Black Wall Street themselves. They haven't. They just complain about Black Wall Street not being there. You talked about how those other cities are, and I know I grew up black. A lot of us grew up black in the United States. Guess where we didn't hear anything about those cities? From parents, grandparents, never heard these things. So then that means they failed us by telling us where these things are and what they meant. What you said the Jews do. The Jews actually do that to their children. They send their kids to Hebrew school when they're children. They when you said they don't talk about how the Germans won. Well, last I checked, they got billions from the Germans, and the Germans got wiped. As far as their empire got wiped out, and they ended up getting their own state from it. Now over in Germany, you can't even say nothing bad about the Jews. Not only that, but the Jews run the legal system. Jews run Hollywood. Jews run the banking system. So the Jews, in my opinion, would be the patriots. They're actually winning. So if I was a Patriot fan, I wouldn't be sitting around talking about how horrible my Patriots are, because we've won 7 Super Bowls in a span of about 10 years. That's pretty impressive. So I wouldn't be talking bad about them. But if I am, i.e., the Raiders, then I would be talking bad about them because of where they sit. So you're right. The Chinese, you said that they don't become American. No, actually they do. I talked to a young man by the name of Steve Kim who comes on my show, and almost every Asian that I talk to, second generation Asian, you know how they speak? Perfect English. Everybody else decides that being a part of America is the best way to integrate and subvert America, if that's what you're trying to do, which is what the Jews did. Blacks complain about what they get in the justice system. Blacks complain, black women are always complaining about, look at our mortality rate inside the hospitals when we trying to kill babies. You know what should happen then if you believe that these white people don't take care of you in the white hospital? You should do what the Jews did. I went up to New York, and I was surprised to see a police car riding around with a 6-pointed star on it. A Hebrew police. I couldn't believe it. They had their own. They have their own hospitals, their own schools, their own everything. Blacks, we've been here long enough to do that. When you talked about integration, you know what I say? I've always said, since I'm supposed to be the bad guy that kisses the white people's ass, apparently, I've always said straight up, integration was the worst thing that ever happened to black folks. My words. Next thing I've said, openly, black folks have an opportunity. Black women should never be going to a white doctor. Why the fuck would you believe that white people are evil and keep going to them, asking them to be good? You're a religious man, or a man of God and a man of faith. You know, you don't get down on your knees and pray to the devil that maybe he'll give you something good. You don't get down on your knees and say, please, devil, tomorrow, don't jump on me like you normally do. Tomorrow, give a brother a break. Maybe you can give me some reparations for all that evil you did to Adam and Eve and all this other people that you're ruining their life. Give me some reparations. But that's exactly what we're doing. Calling the white man devil, calling the white man evil, and then turning around and asking the white man for a favor. No, we should go to war with the white man, just like you go to war with Satan. You go to war with demons. You don't go around and ask them questions. So I'd assume people would be on my side if they were black and understand that what I'm saying as a 49er fan, I want to go to war with yes. I want to go to war with the NFC. And then I want to go to war with the AFC so I can take home that trophy. Because as long as I can barely get out of the NFC West or can't get out of the NFC, then I'll never get a chance to go and try to get that trophy. So I'll always be that guy.
Appreciate it. So when you spoke about the Asian, just one correction. I didn't say that they wasn't in America or couldn't speak English, but every city has a Chinatown. Blacks can't have their own town. When
we got Martin Luther King Drive,
and every Martin Luther King Drive, hey, before they called it Martin Luther King, it was terrible, and it's still you get every Martin Luther King in the black neighborhood.
We made it that way. We made it that way. You know it.
I'm gonna get to that. When you talk about the reparations part, I'm not gonna say whether I'm for or against reparations, but you did kind of just double talk, because the Jewish man gets, to this day, like the New York governor just gave $185 million to victims of the Holocaust. When you think about it, that generation is probably gone. But when you look up the news article, it says it's not just for their generations, it's for the generations after. And that's the
black women got $10 billion from Goldman Sachs to go and start businesses.
That's cap, because here's what would have been better. Here's what would have been better.
I'm just saying they got it. Not that it was good. I think it was horrible that they gave it to black women, because they don't do anything for black men.
Well, before we get to that, because I know how you feel about the black woman.
Yeah, you know it's coming, baby. You know it's coming.
We'll get to that in a second. So now, but what I wanted to point out, though, when World War, and because you brought up the Jewish thing, which I think I mentioned it as well, I just want to highlight something which goes back to this subject of who's done more harm. The earth knew that what the Germans did to Jewish people was horrible. So much so that they divided a land called Palestine in half. Why? So that they didn't have to sit with who was oppressing them, so that they can be free. And then they fund them to this day. They reverence the Holocaust to this day. When black people got freed from slavery, they gave them nothing that you can say is retribution for the irreparable damage of uprooting a people from one continent, bringing them to another continent, stripping them. The Jewish people never lost their identity. Blacks lost their identity, their name, their race, their creed, and everything. And still, without reparations, in spite of it all, when the white man was going through his Great Depression, that's when we built. The church was one of the major cornerstones in the black community during what the white man called his Great Depression. Those cities I talk about, Seneca Village. Seneca Village was a village in Central Park that when they just wanted to expand it, they just displaced all the people out of Seneca Village so they can expand a park. And black people were just powerless to fight against it. Now, one thing I agree with you on, when you say our fathers or our mothers didn't teach us the parts of history that would allow us to not make the same mistakes, that's a part of the fear of the white man. After Tulsa, Oklahoma, you said it got destroyed. You know what they did after Tulsa, Oklahoma got destroyed? They integrated it, which is what the white man wanted. And once you integrate, you lose everything. Once we integrated education, that's one thing we agree on. Integration was horrible because when you integrate, it led to more oppression. Remember, I said I was going to tell you how Martin Luther King got messed up. The streets I'm talking about when I made the joke about the streets. And education, Little Rock 9, if anybody's not familiar with Little Rock 9, Little Rock 9 was when they took 9 black kids, brought them down to Arkansas. That's that photo where they got Jerry Jones in it because he's in that picture with them with the kids because he's a part of the racist crowd that's ready to assault these 9 black children.
Yeah.
Right. So now as he's forcing them, as our people are forcing them thinking integration is going to work, I can play you a video of the woman saying that they asked her, what was her experience? She said, well, I would have been more nicer to my brother and sister if I wouldn't have went to that school because they were oppressing her at that school. Talk about other kids was oppressing her at that school. When she came home, she took that oppression because she couldn't fight against them. So now she fights against her own. Now that's just one little girl. Now imagine the little girls, the boys, the grown men that get pulled over by the police for crimes that they didn't commit, get searched, XYZ. Now they're getting oppressed, and then now they come back into their neighborhood. That's why we become oppressive to each other, because of the oppression that we're getting from this enemy that we call the so-called white man. So that plays a part on this subject of why when you see us being so violent to each other, it's because of the violence that we have been getting from the white man since we've been here. And just because we get a little cookie, like Robert De Niro said in that movie with Cuba Gooding when he called him Little Cookie, just because we get a little cookie or a little trinket, the Bible says a gift destroys the heart. So just because we get a little gift, it doesn't mask the hundreds of years of oppression that we've never been able to get over. And I'll just say one more thing and I'll give it to you. Even genetically, when they genetically looked at our DNA, and not just ours, they looked at Jewish people's DNA too. When they looked at our DNA, traces of the effects of slavery is actually embedded into our DNA. I'll yield with that because I don't want to take up too much time.
No, let me tell y'all something. Hey, listen, I may not agree with the brother's premise. We're different, but I want y'all to be able to see something. And this is something I always preach, and I'm not gonna not put it out there again. You have 2 black men right here, and we're on the opposite sides of something. But look how respectful we're carrying it. We don't have a clock nor moderator. And each of us is saying, okay, I got my point across, it's your turn to go. And it's beautiful because when they say we can't do this,
right,
we need to be able to say, oh, yes, we can.
Well said. Because brothers were saying, I'm gonna need a moderator. I said, no, I don't think we need no moderator. I think we're gonna be straight.
Right. Respect is respect. And the way you coming at me, you coming with respect, and you coming with, let me back up what I'm saying. And that's all you want when you're having a discussion with somebody. Again, whether you agree with them or not. And let me just say this, when you were talking about the Jews, because I don't want to defeat your argument right now at the beginning of the show, but I'm going to go ahead and have to defeat your argument right here to get it started. I'm going to go ahead and defeat you right now. We're going to have to just pull out the belt right now.
Yeah,
but let me let me say this. You said that people like me are hurting the black folks and setting them back. I'm black. Black folks hurt more than whites. 2, you said that once we came over here, white folks treated us real bad to the point of where it's in our DNA. How did we get over here? Who sold us? Who sent us? So if we put us in that position, because like you said, if I got a son and the reason my son is on death row right now, they get ready to electrocute him and they say, well, what happened to your boy when you were little? Well, my dad sent me off to these people who told him straight up, we gonna whoop your ass, but he needed some Crown Royal. So he took the Crown Royal and sent me over here. And now he's sitting out there in the gallery talking about my son, my son. It is your fault, sir. You need to be in this chair. You did this to this man. And what we need to do is be able to point out that. So that's why I said I was going to defeat your argument. If we just went back to who sold who, we got to say we sold ourselves into slavery. So if slavery was that bad, it was our fault that we got put around them white people, and we knew them white people was bad. Not only did we know them white people was bad, but the niggas who sold us could have said, oh my God, look at what they doing in them blacks over there. We gonna go over there and fight and get them back, because that ain't right. They didn't do that either. They ain't sitting now ship over here to bring us back. They ain't sitting now gun over here, now militia. They ain't sitting Hamas. They ain't sitting the Boko Haram. They didn't sit nobody over here. They just sit over there and said, oh, wait a minute. Seems like y'all went over there and made a good time. We gonna try to go too. We gonna get a visa and go over there. We gonna try to come from Nigeria. We gonna try to come from Ghana. We gonna try to come from every one of these places you were sold from, just because it seems like y'all doing better over there than we doing over here. Now that's a shame. Let me go to the Jews. You said the Jews, they didn't lose their history. Cool. Under the threat of death, they still didn't lose their history. But when they wanted to integrate, they would change their names. There was many Jews who said they didn't know they were Jews because their parents were trying to make sure that they didn't grow up Jewish so they didn't have the Jewish problems. There were many Jews who would go into each of these places because remember, they didn't have no home and they kept getting kicked out of homes. It was like a bad penny. They just kept turning up places and people didn't want them. But they still sat there and didn't do what? What you told us that blacks did because they were oppressed, that they turned against each other. Well, Jews didn't turn against each other. That oppression, because you remember, was 2 things that pressure will do. It will burst pipes and it will make diamonds. Pressure on the Jews made a diamond because they went inward. They got closer together. They said, since everybody against us, let's form Voltron and get them. Black folks said, fuck it, let the lines dissipate. We decided to go ahead and fight each other. And that's a problem because of us were under pressure. And you can talk about what happened to them, especially in World War II. You can talk about them everywhere they went. They got kicked out. They got their money stole from them by the Russians. And they started all of that crap with the Bolsheviks. Then got kicked out. They got kicked out of Poland. They get kicked out of everywhere they go. Now that is a history that sucks. So what they did was they would come over, when they came to America, they started to intermingle, marry white people, hide who they were. There was even a time in which they used to get rhinoplasty so you couldn't tell that they were Jew by their nose. So they could then subvert the government, subvert everything. They made Hollywood because the Jews were kicked out of New York when they formed the damn plays and all that shit over there. They got this shit stolen from them. So you know what they said? There's land out west and ain't nobody claiming it. We know that people like watching our movies. We're going to go out there and make them. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it difficult for them to get rid of one of us. So we're going to have 5. You know how they have the 5 families in the gang? You know they did that with the movies, right? They had 5 studio heads, all Jews. So if you try to get rid of them, you got to get rid of all of them. So it looks like they're fighting with each other, and it looks like they're making movies against each other. But all the studio heads work together. They were smart. We as blacks could have then, could have in the middle, and could have now done the exact same thing, but we're not. We have our Tyler Perry's, we have our Oprah Winfrey. We got all these people who got all this power and clout. But what happens? We'll turn our own people and ruin their lives, tear them down. Bill Cosby said something that made people pissed off. What? That black folks need to pull up their pants and stop being gangsters and naming their kids stupid shit. That made black folks turn against this man. But it wasn't black folks. Because black men are used to being criticized, and I'm gonna land right here. Black men are used to being criticized. We're being told, we get told you ain't shit, y'all niggas need to take care of your kids. And we've been told we wrong so much, we accept it and go to other men and tell them, yeah, y'all do need to take care of your kids. And we'll be taking care of our kids, but we'll say there needs to be more of them. We'll sit up and say we'll date women with kids because we want to be a mentor. They make us feel bad for wanting to have our own family. You should want to be with a woman with kids. No other race does this. We get talked down to by our women to the point of where the public sees this and expects this. Our women are put in front of us. So what do the men do? They're used to being destroyed. Right now, I saw, and this is what I mean. I saw a man by the name of Jonathan Majors. And Jonathan Majors, apparently, it came out today that the white girl he was with is now suing him for money. And I watched in the comment section how many black women, one of them said, that's what y'all get for dating them clear women. But if we call them muddy women, they'd get mad. Now, if that's what you get for dating clear women, why is it that these same black women don't bring up Tory Lanez? Last I checked, he in jail because of a black woman. Mike Tyson, black woman. I can name you way more black men who've had their lives ruined by black women. But then when black women get them a white man, they don't ever talk about clear men, pink dicks. No, they say the reason they got with him is because, well, I tried to find black love. So you cheer when a black woman's with a white man, but you say something stupid like that's what you get for dating a white woman with what's happening to Jonathan Majors, as if it wouldn't have happened with a black woman. We'll tell Chris Brown that. Tell several of black men that it happened with them when they were with black men. There were black women that actually said Kobe Bryant deserved to die because he gave his money to a white woman. And she ain't white, but they don't care. So we have a society as black folks that could be building because the men would build. But remember, the men were building before integration. The men had $1 million companies. They were doing it. But white ice was colder. And black women wanted the opportunity, like the Loving Case said, he wanted the white man to love them. They don't want us to love them. That's why you and me walking around with hair that look like ours, and they walking around looking with hair that look like Lee Mubai. I yield.
Man, you said a lot. You said a lot. So I'm gonna unpack some of the stuff that you said, like going back to the slavery part when you mentioned who sold us to the white man, which it was Africans that sold us to the white man. So now here's where a lot of things that we do wrong, I'm talking about black people, that we do wrong is because we lack an identity. Without having an identity, like you said, the Jewish man, well, excuse me, what I said, which you echoed it when I said they kept their history, they kept it. With black people, we lost it. Like we've been called everything under the sun, black, Negro, Afro-American, as if your Afro makes you who you are. African-American, how can you be two continents? So we don't have that identity. So historically, we believe that Africans sold other Africans into slavery. Earlier, you said you like the Bible, so I would like to read a Bible verse to let you know that it was not Africans that sold Africans into slavery, but Africans that sold Israelites into slavery. This is Deuteronomy 28:68. This is one of the punishments for our disobedience. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. The word Egypt just means bondage. So in this verse, the Lord is saying that we will go into bondage again. It says, there thou shalt see it no more again, and ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. So when people look at slavery, A white man never came into Africa to actually catch the slaves. They just made a deal with the African tribes. And if you know anything historically, when Jerusalem fell in 70 AD, millions of black Jews went into Africa. So the Africans knew exactly who they were selling. They were not selling their own, but they were selling the people that came in as foreigners to their land, which were the Israelites. Harriet Tubman is a good example of that. If you just look up online, when it says Harriet Tubman knew she was an Israelite, her and her family knew they were Israelites. There was always an oral tradition. So it wasn't a father selling his son. It was the cat it was a cat across the street that you say was beating up your son. It was him selling your son instead of like that. So I just want to point that out. The other thing, when you pointed out that when the Jewish man came over here, he was able to blend in and marry the American white woman. Well, of course, whites look like whites. So it ain't that hard for a white person to come over and marry another white person. Now, I don't promote interracial marriage at all. Only my people can marry their own people. I just want to highlight that. Of course,
you ain't willing to do it for the sake of your people. You ain't willing to lay down with a snow bunny for the sake of your people. In the long run, we can integrate and kill them. We can breed them out.
Look at Jonathan Majors. Listen, Jonathan Majors had that white woman chasing him about 7 blocks. She was chasing him about 7. Listen, Jonathan Majors, he was just got finished training for the damn Rocky movie. And he hauling ass from the white woman over the phone. He like this on the camera. He just hauling ass from the
Al Green had a black woman throw some hot ass grits on his chest while he was asleep.
I'm gonna get to that. Because and I'm gonna make this statement. Ethnicities having internal issues is not a black thing. Right. White women fight. Did that term wife beater came from white men beating the shit out of white women? That's where wife beater comes. That's not a black man. I know we like to wear the white. I love wife beaters, but a black man did not invent the term wife beater. Wife beater came from white men beating white women. That's where the term wife beater came from. So let's not.
It was in. They kept it gangster. They kept it the patriarchy.
So you applauding the white men beating the white women? You applauding that?
Let me tell you something. I applaud the Patriots for deflating them balls. They won championships. I ain't gonna listen. If you winning, I need to find out how you winning. So I don't get mad at what the Jews doing with Hollywood making black folks look bad. I think black folks need to be able to do the same thing.
So
I do not get mad at the winner.
Wait. So you saying it's okay to beat a woman? Before I'm telling you,
the patriarchy is real, and somehow they kept it together. What did they do to keep it together? I don't know, but I will take notes from them. You said wife beater came from somewhere. Right. Why they white women still love them then if it was so wrong to do? Why they white women still love them?
Okay, so I'll answer that. Because the white woman values the protection that white man brings. And that white woman during that time still had black slaves who was provided by that same white man. That white woman stayed with that white man because together they oppressed black people. We always
something. Yeah. When you put that outfit on right there, you knew you were ready to go to war. They saw you, your friends. I hear them in the background. You got people on you, and I don't. I ain't got nobody that's behind me. It's just me.
I'm at my school, so my brothers is here with me.
I like it. It sounds good. I like it. Tell her to keep it up. We got a hype man right now. I like that.
So now, because the hidden part of history is that it was just a white man in the slavery. It wasn't. That white woman was more vicious than the white man when it came to pain on black men.
That's what I'm saying. You got on that outfit right now. You came and everybody knew when you put that on, you were ready for debating and you were finna kick some ass.
That's right.
You know why they call that a wife beater? Because when that white man put that shirt on, his woman knew it was time to cook. His woman knew it was time.
No, it wasn't time for her to cook. You know what time? It wasn't time for her to cook. It was time to get the slaves to cook. That's
whoever it was, she knew it was going down. So what she did
I'm only saying that to answer why you said he was able to stay, because together the white man and white woman made sure that they oppressed black people, and I think that's the part that we're missing. When you brought up being millionaires, the other biggest misclaimer is that families weren't together. We were together until integration.
I talk about that all the time.
Yeah, thank you. Black families was always together, even during the time of integration. It's only when integration came and we didn't even see the play coming. Listen, when it comes to that black woman in 2024, to the black man, I don't know which one is more harder. You have the white man and the white woman and their vices, and then you got the black woman who in some instances can be her pit bull. Be his pit bull. I know Tommy liked that line right there. That the black woman can be the white man's pit bull.
But I call it a right hand of white supremacy. That's what I call black women.
Listen, now, the same way that we could say that about the black woman, you can also say that about the black man. Because in the 70s, you had the black woman with the feminist movement. Now, how did the black woman learn to vilify us? Gloria Steinem and the CIA created the feminist movement because there was two kinds. You had the feminist movement that was for white women, which all they wanted to do was get a job. Why did they want to get out the house? Because the motherfuckers ain't want to cook no more. Because they couldn't cook. Because they don't have the slaves anymore and they don't have the maids anymore and they have to work, they would rather go into the workforce. So that's what the feminist movement was for white women. For black women, it was about being separated from your man. I remember a famous black woman, Shahrazad Ali, made a statement that said, why is black women trying to be liberated from the black man when he's never even had the freedom to be in charge of you since we've been in America? So Gloria Steinem, Angela Davis, who's the woman that wrote The Color Purple. So what they did, them Jewish bastards that you said is in charge, them 5 Paramounts and all that, what they did was through media, was create movies and music that was centered around us being separate from each other. Was centered around like the white farmers, their families could stay together and get government assistance. The black household, the black man had to be out the house in order to get that government assistance. So although the black man and the black woman is having sex and making babies, if their luck runs out because we're in poverty, because that was also systematic oppression from the white man, and they go to get government assistance, the man can't be in the house in the black community, but the man can be in the house in the white community. So now you get the separation of houses. Then you have the music and the movies that get created that just show constant tension between the black man and the black woman, to where you create the dynamic. I'm an independent woman. I don't need no man. I don't need this. I could be separate. The Color Purple is like one of the most horrific movies ever created. And even that was done to teach black women to be separate from their man. So now we have to say, who's teaching them that lesson? Just like you could say on the flip side, because I know you want to be solely on the black woman, but when it comes to the black man, he also failed at listening to that same oppressor. It's almost like we're puppet masters. We're puppets, and then you have the puppet master at the top, which is the white man and his system that just pulls the string to keep the tension between us. So whereas we looking at each other as the enemy, even you in this debate is taking the side of we're harm to ourselves, when we're not even realizing the one that's pulling the strings to create that tension between us. Because even with Jonathan Majors, you know who gave him his strength? A black woman, Megan Good. Megan Good sticking with him. Is Megan Good not sticking with him?
Megan Good left a man. A pastor broke this man's heart.
Not about that part. But I
don't forget that.
I would have to look at how they broke up.
Right.
How they broke up.
Literally broke this man's heart.
Okay.
You quoted something earlier.
Okay.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
You quoted Deuteronomy
28, right?
I'm going to quote something from you.
Okay.
The fuck is wrong with you? This ain't about money. I could give a fuck about money.
Mm-hmm.
You see this fucking place. I built this fucking place with my bare fucking hands.
Mm-hmm.
Every light socket, every piece of tile, me with these fucking hands. You know where that came from?
Where?
Not Deuteronomy, but do the right thing. And that's the problem. Niggas think to do the right thing.
We did it. That was Sal from Do the Right Thing. And black folks would just stop Deuteronomy and do the right thing. And what he said was, look around, man. I built all this with my hands. And you talked about what happened with the Jews, but you didn't talk about where the word ghetto came from. Who was the first put in ghettos?
Jewish people.
Who was the first brought over here and tried to be made to not want to be whatever it is they were and to break up their families? But guess what they wouldn't do again? Pressure can break pipes, or pressure can make diamonds. They were under the same pressure, and what they did was they said, we'll do better sticking together. That is why they decided to go into the fields of doctors, because they said, they're experimenting on us. Why would we want to go to any doctor? We saw what they did over in Germany. We don't trust no doctors other than Jews. And that's why they became doctors. They said, we don't want to become subject of the law in these other lands, because if we don't know how to read the law or write the law, we then become subject to the law. And so what did they do? Right now, when you get in trouble, what kind of lawyer do they tell you to get? Don't matter how black you are. What do they tell you? Get you a Jew. Now, why is it that we think of lawyers and doctors and we think of Jews or Indians, but we don't think of any of these people as blacks? But yet, black people complain about what they get from these non-black people. We could have easily decided to do like they did. We're not going to take this. I'd rather die with my man, is what everybody else said. Remember, you said that the white woman went out with feminism and tried to go out and work because they didn't want to sit at home. You know what they didn't say, though? I don't want to be with a man.
But
they wanted to go work because they didn't want to cook, but they didn't say, I don't want to be with a man. And I can kill your argument again, pull out the belts yet again.
Mm-hmm.
If black people can be told and manipulated by so many people, last I checked, that is a sign of weakness. And that means you yourself is a problem, because that means you're weak, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're whatever word you want to call, that someone can always be your puppet master. When are we going to get to the point where we start pulling our own strings?
So now, with that said, the first belt that you thought you pulled out with the whole Africans selling Africans, I debunked that. I just want that on the record, because that was Africans selling Israelites. We were not the same people. I just want to highlight that. This
you still make it, but whoever sold them, they weren't whites.
No, I'm not. I never, right, but there wasn't us either. Remember, the analogy you gave was the father sold the son. The father didn't sell his son. An enemy sold his enemy.
So by that being said, if they are absolved of it,
no,
then whites are absolved of it.
Whoa, Tommy. We do not absolve Africans at all. I do not like Africans either. And listen, Africans don't. When I'm in New York right now.
Where are the Israelites at? Where we find them at?
Okay, when you talk about landmass does not make you the same people. Right now, Elon Musk is a South African, but he's a white man. So just because
Elon Musk is an African American,
okay, let's say African American, but he's a white man. Why? Because he has African citizenship and American citizenship. So landmass, we ain't got an argument or issue with the ground. The ground didn't do nothing to us. The people of that land did something to us. So Africans selling us is what it was. And the biggest thing in America is that when they use the term African, and I want to address what you thought you pulled the belt out the second time, because I just destroyed the first belt, so I want to just destroy the second.
That did not destroy. You know, I don't know the difference between just like you said.
Wait,
let me stop you.
Go ahead.
Jews and white people, you said they all white. That's why it was evil for them to integrate. Let me tell you something. Israelites and Africans, apparently they was all black, which is why it was easy for them to integrate, which is why it's easy for an Israelite to walk around a black person and they look like the same, but they're not.
Right. But that ain't the belt. That's a good analogy, but that ain't the belt, though. That ain't the belt, but that's a good analogy. I'm gonna tell you why. And that's you walking right into what I was gonna say. When you go over to Africa, like when I went to Israel, you'll find that when you go over there, they don't use the term Africa. They use the tribe and village that they come from. They all have the same melanin. They know who is who. They know if you from Mozambique or they know if you from Tanzania.
Yes.
Just by the way that you look. So when we came in there as Israelites, just like us over here today, when some African, I look at Tommy's not African. But I can look at somebody else, like when I'm in New York, I know who the African is by the way that they look and the way that they carry themselves. So that belt is gone.
First, Cap, before you finish,
Yeah.
shout out to 2,100 people watching over on
Oh,
Rumble.
definitely.
Shout out to 1,000 people watching over on which I've never even went live on X like this, Twitter. Apparently, we got 1,000 people over there watching. Shout out to the 100 people watching over on Kick, and shout out to the 134 people watching over on Twitter. Is that Twitch? So Twitch and Kick. So
Yeah,
we got a large
Twitch and
audience
that
watching.
Kick. I think I'm gonna hop on that because I've heard of Twitch. I didn't hear of the Kick, but I think I'm gonna utilize those platforms and stuff like that. So I'm
all right. So I put it in there. I put my Twitch and I put my Rumble in there. I didn't put my Kick in there. The Kick's the only one I did.
Yeah, send me that Kick. I'm gonna check that out because I definitely want to get on there. So
and that ought to tell you another thing about if I'm such the white man, whatever. Have you noticed that all the pro-blacks and people who talk good stuff to blacks, they have no problem getting a YouTube page, keeping a YouTube page up there, telling people the white man let them stay on that. But me, the white man's bitch, the one who kissed the white man ass, I have been banned from every platform. How's that possible if I'm doing their job?
yeah, you be, man, from what I know, you do some wild stuff. You got a lot of, I think you just create enemies. I remember when you came up here with Sinetta, I think they tried to get you up here, didn't they?
Yes, but how did I create enemies when I don't know them?
Right.
Let me tell you what I did. A brother Sinetta asked me when I was up there, hey, would you come and perform at this place and debate somebody for me?
Right.
Do you hear what I said? A black man that's up here, up in New York by himself. I said, yeah. Didn't charge him a thing. And as a matter of fact, before I came in the door, put down $100 on it. Here y'all go, donation.
Right.
Getting ready to set up to do the show, as I was asked by a brother, didn't charge him a dime. Get ready to get on the show, and these 3 dudes walk up to me and they say, hey, you Tommy Sotomayor? I said, yes. He said, hey, man, I'd like to ask you a question. And I was getting my stuff ready. And I said, sure, because I'm very open. You can ask me anything, and I'll answer it. Right. He was asking me questions, and I guess people start noticing who I was, so the people who were there started circling around me. And so it just became like, and I love when that happens. It happened to me at the Million Man March. People started circling around me. So he was asking me these questions, thinking he was going to stomp me and thinking he was going to make me look bad in front of the women. Well, I then answered, because most of the time when you watch my video, it's only 5 minutes long and you hear me cussing and you think, oh my God, he just wild. But when you give me a chance to explain it, like here, I sound like I got some damn sense. So as he kept asking me questions, I kept answering them. And then it got to a point where the lady started clapping. Now, you know how black men are if they trying to make you out to be a hater and the girls seem like they like you. So finally I said, well, did I answer your question, sir? He said, I still don't like you, nigga. And that was a shock. I don't know where that came from because I was being very respectful.
Right.
So at that point I said, and this conversation is over. And I went and grabbed my, I reached down to pick up my bag to get ready to go up on the stage, and he punched me in the back of the head.
Damn.
That was it. Then as I tried to go to get him, Hugh Butter and the rest of them dudes standing in front of me, you don't want this smoke, man. Just let it go, man. Just let it go. And then when I look back in the video about 3 months later, as I was watching the video of what happened, because I had my phone and somebody picked up my phone and then started filming it, so you didn't see the contact or hit me. But the little pussy nigga hit me in the head. I didn't fall down. One thing black men are good at is sucker punching people, but never straight up. He hits me. I don't go down. I go after him. They stand in between me and him. In the video, there was a man behind me with a blade about this long, moving forward towards me. And if I had stopped or backed up, he was going to stab me. Over what? Because you don't like what I say online. And even when I back it up, you still feel like you're an enemy of mine. So let me ask you something. Why is it that black folks love to say white people try to suppress us and not allow us to say what we want, mess up our free speech? And yet it was a black person who decided to kill me because he didn't agree with me, who decided to assault me because he didn't agree with me. That's what happened.
I'm going to give you a story. I'm going to give you a similar story. Like, we teach on the street all the time. For those that may not know, we as Israelites teach on the street all the time. And we're kind of used to, like Christ said in John 8:32, you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. It didn't say it would make you feel nice. And medicine never tastes good when you swallow it. It always tastes bad, but it's a medicine that you got to swallow. And when we're out there on the streets teaching, I remember this one time we teaching on the street, and this cat comes in front of us and he says, "Man, I'll shoot everybody here." That's what he say. Why he's speaking? He said, "I'll shoot everybody from the blacks all the way down to the Mexican. I'll just shoot everybody."
Everybody go get it.
Everybody gonna get it. And the brother kept talking and telling him about brotherhood and how it was right. And by the end of it, he was on the side crying to the same brother that he said he was going to shoot. Because the problem with black people, as the Bible says, oppression makes a wise man mad. Oppression will have you not even being able to see who is your brother and who is your enemy.
But you would understand how a person like me would have harsh words for a group of people, like most people do. Like, what did Moses do when he realized that the people he done did all this fighting for went up to the mount? He came down and he's saying them out there worshiping the golden calf. What did he do?
What did he do before he come down that mountain, though? And here, I'm glad. Listen, I'm glad you said that, because as Moses is on top of that mountain, the children of Israel is disobeying the very God that just brought them out of Egypt. And now the Lord says to Moses, "Let me alone. I'm going to kill all of them, and I'm going to make a nation out of you." Now, here it is. Moses could have been a man. It wouldn't have been no Israelites. We'd be the Mosesites. And you know what Moses did for the children of Israel that they didn't even know, and what black people need to learn today that we don't know? Moses pled with the Most High to spare their lives. Black people don't know what compassion is for black people. The only compassion
did it for the city of Sodom and Gomorrah.
No, hell no. But before,
yes, he did.
No, he
pled for their lives.
No, Abraham did.
That's what I said. Abraham did.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But now, what makes it important about this is that the only compassion we know is whatever the white man tells us to have compassion on. So
tell me I don't have compassion even after I've been assaulted several times by blacks. I still, anytime someone just like you say they want to have a discussion with me,
right,
I'm very welcoming and very open.
No, you are. Now, I'm not. Now, what I'm talking about is black people in general, because I'm including myself in that, even though I have the compassion. I will sit there and deal with a brother. I get threatened all the time. Everybody tell me they're going to beat me up and all this stuff and everything like that. It never bothers me. It never phases me at all. But if something happens to white America, we will actually die. I remember when the Paris bombing happened and everybody made Paris their thing. But when stuff happens to black people, we don't think to do anything about it, except maybe march. The only thing we might
say, they did something with George Floyd. They made this man a martyr.
Who? George Floyd?
Yes.
Okay, but I think the only thing
with her name, Tiana whatever Taylor.
Is it Tiana? Is it Taylor? You talk about when they ran
Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, Breonna Taylor. But those are the anomalies. But when it comes she ain't get no compassion.
No, I'm saying you said when something happened to Paris, they sit up there and said, "We with Paris." They did the same thing with her after she was dead. As a matter of fact, black women started to threaten black men who wouldn't say that they were queens, or if you did question them, they'd say, "And I hope them white people do something to you, so we won't do nothing."
But that's superficial, though. I'm talking about having like that analogy. Excuse me. What happened to you in Harlem is because those men don't know what compassion is. That's where we fail, because we've been under this oppressor. That's why I used the example of that young girl in Little Rock 9. Richard Pryor gave a comedic joke one time where he was talking about cops, and he was saying how cops put a hurting on your ass. He said you might go out, work all week, might get $200 if you're lucky. You get dressed up, go out with your old lady. The cops pull you over like, "Oh, get out the car. We saw a man committed a crime. He looked just like you. Spread your cheeks, whip out." He said, "Now, after you go through all that searching and stuff, who want to go outside after all that?" He said, "You know what he said that was heavy?" He said, "You go home and beat your kids, because you have to take it out on somebody." And that's the black community. Like when you bring it up, how other nations are able to pull themselves up, them other nations, the problem with the Jewish people outside of bringing people into their land, they got support. They got support from the British. When you do the history of the Israeli becoming a state, in the 1890s is when the Zionist movement started and was funded and assisted by the British. The only thing the British didn't want was all them immigrants coming into their land, but they had no problem helping them. Black people are the only race of people that are told, forget about slavery, forget about your past, get over it, but don't get any assistance. And when the neighborhoods are destroyed, you can't blame the government for it. You have to blame each other for it. You understand? When the migrant problem, you know who Fox blames for the migrant problem? They don't blame the immigrants trying to get here. They blame Joe Biden. When the black
because they should, because
they should. So I agree.
But I'm saying, but they should. Whites blame the white. But do you understand?
No, they're not blaming the whites. They're not blaming the whites. They blaming the white in charge. They're blaming whoever is in charge.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. When blacks, if there's a drug problem in the black community, they blame the black community. They don't blame the mayor, the governor, the councilman, the police, the people that are supposed to and paid to actually clean up the community.
Who did they blame for the opioid epidemic? That was a white one. They didn't blame the mayor.
Opioid. But they didn't listen. They didn't even recognize that the opioid and heroin is the same thing. They didn't even recognize that it was an opioid problem when it was a black problem. You're helping.
Well, I was just addressing what you said. You said they would blame the official. Well, when it came to opioids, they didn't blame the officials. They blamed the white. They blamed the whites for doing them. And then they said we need to go. Now here's the difference. They went and said we need to help them with their drug problem. But with blacks, they said the blacks need to figure out how to not be on the drugs.
You're helping my point. Right. That's my point.
But they should, because those are their brothers.
You say what?
By what your logic is, whites are whites' brothers. So why would whites, if I have a child and your child's across the street, why would I make sure your child has the same shoes that mine has?
Because if your job is to police and control said city, I'm not coming to you because you're white or black. I'm coming to you because you're in charge of the city. We're not.
And so what about those cities that blacks are in charge of, like Mayor Barry, who was in charge of DC,
and
Mike
he should have been
Baltimore.
Now I'm gonna tell you how.
Right now, there's a black woman, and I was going to put the story up. A black woman who stole $300,000 from a 96-year-old woman by taking her credit cards and her social security number. Another black woman, and stealing it so she can get facelifts and trips.
Now I'm gonna tell you.
Tommy Kilpatrick. You can look at all these places where there were, like you said, they had the opportunity to do for their own people, and they decided to screw over their own people. And we'll blame that on white supremacy. But when whites screw over whites, they don't blame that on blacks. They blame that on each other. They say you screwed over this group. The
reason why. Now I'm gonna tell you. Usually, this is when I say. This is how you know you suffer from white supremacy in this regard. When I start pointing out the governments that are in charge, you give me the small pocket examples of where black people were in charge. So I
can give you more than that, though. I gave you a lot right there, and I can give you a lot more. That's a lot that I gave you within seconds off the top of my head. That's not a small point.
But hear what I'm saying. You did that to take away from the major point. The major point. I didn't
answer when you said they don't do that. If I say white people don't go out and piss on the ground, and then you say I just saw some do it, you're only answering what I said.
No, that's not what I'm saying, though. What I'm saying is that in the communities, black people get blamed for what they do to themselves. There's no one blaming, especially when we know the history of them pumping drugs into the black communities purposely. When they're purposely arresting people for crime, black people for crimes that they didn't commit, when they're purposely locking them up, when they're purposely putting drugs in the community, when they're purposely making sure it is the poorest city in every nation, the only reason we're complaining to another race of people is because they're in charge. So it's not
like
even,
white people, like the Appalachian whites who had alcohol and tobacco pushed on them, and they never been able to get out. And the Appalachian whites still look like they're
I
living
don't
in
know.
back.
I don't even know about I don't even know who the Appalachian whites are. You can educate me on it, but I don't even
Like
know.
the West Virginia, Tennessee, those whites are struggling. They're backwater. They literally
Right.
are sitting there in trailers and have
and who do they blame for that?
generations of being in trailers,
And who-
generations of alcoholics,
And who do they
generations
blame-
of stuff.
And who do they blame for that?
No, I'm saying they blame them. They call them white trash.
Okay, no problem.
They don't give them shit.
But
That's why they got mad and voted for Donald Trump, because they saw they don't get anything. They saw that blacks were getting bills to give to them. They saw that Jews, they saw that everybody else was getting something. But all they do is call those Appalachian whites trailer trash.
No problem.
White trash. They give them nothing.
When you mention that opioid problem, if you mention crime, it only became something that they wanted to address, and to show you how they wanted it to look a little or sound a little better for white people. They didn't call it a heroin problem. They call it an opioid problem. For blacks, it's a heroin problem. For whites, it's an opioid problem, because opioid sounds medicinal. Heroin sounds crackish. It sounds detrimental, even though both of them are detrimental. And I'm not saying
they call them different things because one was made in a lab and the pharmaceutical companies did it to them. So America did it to their own whites. Yeah, they did it to them. Remember, it wasn't blacks. They can't say blacks came and sold it to them. They were giving this to them. They were writing scripts for this.
Right. And then now they're complaining to the same whites that was doing it. But when blacks commit crimes against each other, when blacks sell drugs to each other, they blame us as if we do it ourselves. We can't go. If we start blaming the government, you start blaming the mayor, they say, nah, it ain't the government fault, even though we find out that it was the government's fault. The whole time we saying it's the government's fault for these drugs coming into our community. And they say, no, it's not. And then we find out that the CIA and Ronald Reagan and all of them was at fault and was doing it. We're
like the opioid epidemic. Yet the pharmaceutical companies don't owe or do nothing.
Listen, the white man is the devil. With that said,
what they did with tobacco to whites and have paid and did nothing.
With that said, but it's extra vilified when it's put upon blacks. Remember, the subject is who's done more harm to us. If they don't flood us with those drugs, we don't have the issues in our community that we have. If they don't,
and if we realize the white man had enslaved us, so we don't want to take anything they give us, it's the same lie or excuse, whichever you want to call it, when they say they sent us guns, they put guns in the hood. Yeah, but you could have taken those guns like what they did with the Iran-Contra affair. They gave them guns, and what they do? Turn them on the whites. They gave guns to the Fast and Furious. What they do? Turn them on the whites. They gave guns to to Saddam Hussein. They gave guns to Osama bin Laden. Each of them took the guns, gave it to their people, and turned it against the people who gave it to them. We are the only people who sit and bitch and moan and say the white man gave it to us, so therefore we didn't have agency over ourselves to say no. Let me tell you something. There are plenty of people who've been to jail. A lot of them never been fucked in the ass or sucked no dick. You know why? Because it didn't matter that they were offering dick. They knew they didn't want it.
That's facts. But here's where you're being desensitized to black people in this regard. When the Irish came over here as immigrants, when the Italians came over here as immigrants, they robbed and shot people, and they didn't want to be accepted either. But you know what happens? Eventually, the white man let them come into society. And those Irish became police officers that you see in Boston and can keep the racism going. As much
they did it on purpose. That's why I was telling you, they integrated. They said, let's do it ourselves.
No, it ain't that. We looking at it as that they integrate. It ain't just that they integrated. They were accepted by who they were being integrated with.
Oh, no. I didn't say they integrated. What I'm saying is they said they don't want to let us in. So we'll just have our own little pocket. They treated them people like crap.
You're talking about the Irish, right?
You said all of them. You ever seen the games in New York?
But that's
they literally treated them people like crap. So what they said was we have to be closer, and then what we'll do is start making our own pockets of stuff. Like in Atlanta, You remember you just told me I can't use these things. Well, yes, you can. If you saw what the Jews did and the Irish did, what they did was became their own police officers and their own mayors.
So
they did
it when the Panthers became their own police officers, the police changed the laws. So now in California,
this is why we should become lawyers when they can't do that. That's why the Jews did it.
Wait, but the leader of the Panthers was intelligent. That's how he knew the law.
Not intelligent, a lawyer. And we know this. Even the Bible tells you about that. Here's the difference between you knowing the law, which is why Jesus
crazy as hell. Listen, Tommy, he was so smart that he knew how to carry the weapon, when to carry the weapon, when to sheath it, when to lock it, load it. He knew all of that. And you know what California did? Changed the damn gun law so that they couldn't do it and that they could not police themselves. And then
Angela Davis was hated, walked into the courtroom knowing the law and destroyed them legally.
Say it one more time.
And yet Angela Davis knew they didn't like her. They were against her. She went into the courtroom, knew the law, and destroyed them legally.
But Angela Davis was working with the CIA. She was working with Gloria Steinem. That's what I was saying earlier. That feminist movement, Gloria Steinem, who worked for the CIA, infiltrated. That's the COINTELPRO.
She was arrested, but then they let her off to show what?
Well, let Angela Davis
all the charges against her. She was able to beat them, and she did that because they were just trying to put a show for the rest of the world.
Absolutely, because Gloria Steinem and Angela Davis led the damn feminist movement.
No, I'm saying, so what was the show? Like, what did they want us to see her be arrested, charged with all those crimes, and then
what we think of when black people are arrested for what we deem as being something positive, that they're for the movement. That's why most people believe Angela Davis was for the movement. Most people don't know the history that Angela Davis worked with Gloria Steinem and the CIA. Most people don't know that because she had the afro, she had the pump fist, so they don't know that she was with COINTELPRO. Just like, you understand what I'm saying? So that's what they was allowed to do, to infiltrate the Panthers, to then infiltrate the Nation of Islam, to infiltrate every black organization. One thing I want to point out about
how are blacks so easily infiltrated, and yet we can't infiltrate other
oppression. Imagine you got somebody in a dungeon, you got them locked up, you kidnapped them, and you got them in the basement of your house. You don't let them out the basement. You bring them downstairs. You bring the food downstairs. The food is trash, and then one day you let them come upstairs, watch TV with you, and eat milk and cookies. But then after they eat the milk and cookies and watch that TV, you send them right back downstairs in the dungeon. You know all they're going to wait for is their milk and cookies, their opportunity to get their milk and cookies. And then you say, I need you to do this for me, and I'm going to give you some more milk and cookies. You know what they're going to do? They're going to eat them milk and cookies. So we got a small gift. That's why in the Bible it says they have healed the hurt of my daughter slightly, saying peace, peace, when there is no peace. So if you take brothers that are oppressed or in poverty, and then you take some white man that come with the COINTELPRO and say, I'll pay you X amount of dollars. Unfortunately, you have some of us that will accept that, which is why I can't argue that you have some black people that have sold us out for the white man.
And those are the ones I'm talking about when I say that we've done more damage to ourselves than they have, because we cannot keep giving ourselves the excuse. And I'm going to say something that I know you and probably the people in there who listening ain't going to really like this, but maybe it's time for us to bring up this point, or at least think about this.
Right.
Maybe just have a lower IQ than other people. Maybe genetically we're just not as smart as other people. If we can constantly say somebody did this. Now, for no matter how much oppression you've been under and your girl have been under, if she keep telling you she was screwing other people because they was able to talk her in the dick, you wouldn't sit up there and say, well, I understand we have been through slavery and she used to that. That's what I'm saying. So for some odd reason, the same way when men don't take care of their kids, we don't say, well, slavery did separate the black man from his kids, so we got to give him the excuse. So for some reasons, we say there is no excuse, and other reasons we say there is an excuse. And I don't think that's fair, because it seems like we're giving a get out of jail free card. Maybe we just aren't smart enough.
Free card to who?
To the blacks who are fucking up or selling out. We're giving them as an excuse, and I don't like that excuse. That's what my song was about. Fuck the excuse. If Black Wall Street meant that much and was a symbol for blacks, you know what? We build it back now. We ain't got to keep talking about it. We could make it exist. Make them blow it down. Make them burn it down. Make them get in biplanes and throw out Molotov cocktails. But if they're not going to do it, no. The Jews don't do that. I will not listen to the excuse.
No, not that
shit that happened before we were born. It's not right.
No, Tommy, not that part. When you said let them throw the stuff off the air.
No, I'm saying let them do it now.
Oh, you talking about
now
in 2024?
Yes, they've already done it. I'm saying let them do it again.
No,
that's what happens. When I was young, what they tell you, if you went up the street and got your ass whooped, you know what my mama told me to do the next day?
You gotta go back.
Take your ass back up there and do it again. Right. So we sit and talk about shit that happened before we were even born, living off somebody else's laurels. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not going to sit up here and talk about how my daddy used to whoop niggas' ass, how my daddy was athletic, but I ain't. And he's sitting up here looking at me talking about, he basically looking at me like a failure. He wondering why his son ain't like him. It's like a dude who's real athletic, Dwayne Wade, and then your son gay. He out there in dresses. That's embarrassing. And let me tell you something. We've embarrassed everybody who built all that stuff you say they built because we talking about it instead of being about it. We should have been and rebuilt that stuff back today.
Was you a preacher before? Was you ever a preacher?
It sounds like I preach. I know. I don't. I don't. Let me tell you something. I really believe it. I know it sounds odd. I really believe it. I know it sounds odd. God sent me to do this, which is why I do what I do. I believe God sent me to do this because I do it in the face of evil. I do it in the face of everything being destroyed in my life. I didn't have a good life because of it. I had people take money out my pocket. I had people put my daughter's school address out there. I had people put my mother's address out there. I've had people try to destroy everything I built. While other niggas is on YouTube doing what I taught them to do, I can't get on YouTube and do it myself. You know who I sound like? Moses. I didn't get to go to the promised land, but took a lot of niggas there.
I don't know about Moses. That's
what happened to him. He took a lot of people to the promised land and didn't get to go. Everybody walking around with a mic on their damn thing, talking about they got a show. They didn't do it before I did it, and I don't get no credit for it.
But he didn't get to go in the promised land for one disobedient mistake to the Most High. That's why he didn't get to go. Had nothing to do with
it. Still gets credit.
Say again?
To this day, he still gets his credit. They don't act like somebody else.
It's the law.
My own people act like I don't exist, and they know without me, they wouldn't have even known they could make money off YouTube. They weren't doing it.
Right. But so now, what you have to understand, and what even Moses did, since you brought up Moses, is that sometimes you have to be the sacrifice. So whatever it is that they take and learn, like right now, we call it the law of Moses. We follow what Moses said, even though Moses didn't get into. Even though Moses didn't get to go into the promised land, Moses still did the job until he died. He didn't.
And I've done that. That's why I'm still doing it, even though I don't get a chance to get
the way you doing the job.
I get flagged off Instagram.
Right.
I still
but you get flagged but you get flagged from vilifying black people only. From what I know of your reputation, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know of you charging white folk for the crimes that they've committed. Maybe you can help me. Maybe you can help me.
So first off, I do charge, but I also say,
let me hear.
I'm not. Hold on.
Without
listen, wait a minute. You just heard me in here say during the show. You said things about what they're doing. I said I agree. I'm the one who sat up here and said integration was a problem. We should have never done it. Why would I say this if I'm Mr. Pro-white and never say anything about whites? As a matter of fact, one time I was kicked off of a platform is when I brought up what the Jews did. I'm one of them who stood up there and talked about how is it that Kyrie Irving can just tell people to go look at something and he got to say, you ain't never seen that video they put around of me going off on the Jews?
No,
you ain't seen that video?
You gotta send that one to me because I have not seen that.
I went slap off.
And that's where we differ, because as you sit here and just vilify black people, and then when I point out,
I just vilify.
Yeah.
After asking me, do I vilify others? See, now you asked me to direct you, and I will continue to direct you. Here's the thing, though, that you won't point out. Fine, I just vilify blacks, but Dr. Umar just vilifies whites, and as a matter of fact, he just vilifies black men who date white women, snow bunnies. But he allowed the black women who put money in his pocket for them to date a white man. He don't go around tell them don't be with cavemen. That's all right. He don't talk about them all damn day. Tariq Nasheed tell you about white supremacists, suspected white supremacists all damn day, and he don't get flagged, and he only talk about one group of people. That's it. So if you can't tell me that I only talk about one group of people when a lot of people only talk about one damn group. The Jews only talk about the Palestinians,
Right.
one group. And ain't nobody kicking them off because they do it. You need to talk about the Jews. Most people, if you're a masculinist, you talk about women. If you're a feminist, you talk about men. It is crazy to say, oh, you should be talking about a lot of things. No, I shouldn't. I'm a painter, and I want to talk about paint. Now, if you want to talk about lumber, then you do it because you're a construction guy. But don't tell me I should talk about every part of the house.
Right. But whatever you talk about, you have to give appropriate history for. You made a point to say you're not going to talk about the past. You also mentioned earlier in this dialogue that we're not taught history. Black people, if you in 2024, if you start going to black people, start telling about history, it's going to be like this thick right here. It's going to be slavery, integration, and we here right now. There's going to be nothing in between. So most black kids or this generation, whatever generation Z, X, or whatever this is, does not know of any of the great things that black people did under duress. Why is that important? Because black people are under duress today. So if they don't have anything that inspires them, they'll have nothing to look at. So you gave an analogy like the father that was the fighter, and then he looks at his son. If the father don't tell the son about how he used to fight, how is he going to now learn to fight himself? He's not. So we have to be that generation that comes along and says, okay, black people did this, but this is the root cause of it. Why? Because
but that shouldn't mean that I'm getting flagged because I don't say what you think I should say, because there are many people who don't give the root cause, and you know it. I ain't the only one who doesn't give the root cause, but they're allowed to speak, because what you should be able to do is like how you're doing is come in and debate me, speak to me about what it is that I'm not doing. Like right now, this person wrote to me, she said, he's wrong. In the scripture he just read, God was only talking to the Jews because he was tired of them sinning. The portion of the Bible has nothing to do with black or white people. The first five books are all about the Jews.
Right.
And it said the Weinberg, Germany, when King Conrad III defeated the Duke of Welf in 1140 and had placed Weinberg under siege, the wives of the besieged castle negotiated a surrender, which granted them the right to leave with nothing but what they can carry on their shoulders. Then she said, and this is a black woman, then she finished it with saying, those women were white. Black women would have not chosen their men. Remember, they were told that they can only leave with what they can carry. You just told me about how black women decided to go with the state instead of with their man because the state could give them a little more crumbs than they could get at home. Yet these women left all their earthly possessions to leave with their man when they could have stayed with the men who were the marauders. And they said, I'd rather have what I can carry on my shoulder and walk out with my man than live in your castle. That's what they did.
And let me tell you something. That was black women and black men in history in America. It only changed. Well, first, let me back up to the whoever sent you that message that said that was to the Jews don't know the Bible. Jews is only one tribe. You have 12 tribes. That was make the Jewish man fake. I know we on Rumble, so hopefully I could just say that. But make the Jewish man fake. Jews is not something that they could claim for all Israel. You have the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Naphtali, Manasseh, Issachar, Gad, Ephraim. It's 12 tribes collectively. So when she said,
say he was only coming to save the Jews, not everybody else, when the woman was asking him.
Right. When salvation is of the Jews, there's three terminology. There's three terminologies for that. Because Christ also said in Matthew 15 and 24, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So Jews were the ones that was in the land during the time of Christ. The house of Israel were the lost sheep that was scattered. So in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, that was to the nation of Israel, which are 12 tribes of Israel. And that analogy that you gave, you agreed with me that before integration, the black man and black woman was becoming the number one household in America. And that's the biggest threat to him. That's what sparked the feminist.
So then why would she then, if she knows this is happening, why would she take crumbs from a white man?
So now here's what we got to do, Tommy, you and I. What we have to do is, if we're recognizing that the black man and black woman, you agree with me on this, was becoming the number one married household in America. It's not just what she did, it's what did we do? Because now you want to turn the black woman back into what she was. Not only do you give her correction, you give her protection. So now if you say, what did we do? Now there's no finger pointing. The biggest problem between a black man and black woman, you know what we do all day, what I see on social media? The black man ain't shit. The black woman ain't shit. The black woman, you did this to me and da-da-da-da-da. My mother did this. And the black man say, excuse me, black woman say, well, nigga, all you did was have sex with me and leave me. Nobody says the black man and black woman do not fathom that they could say, hey, we both fucked up. We both fucked each other over. We both destroyed each other. The only salvation we have is each other. The white man,
they don't believe that. They believe they don't need us. That's why they cheer every time one of them did. Do you understand that black women got in front of their TV sets by the millions and watched a show called Scandal? Do you think they would have done it had the president have been a black man and he was cheating on his black wife with a white woman? You think they would have done that? They also got in front of their TVs by the millions to watch a white man marry a kind of white woman over in England and said, thank you, Prince Harry, for making a black woman a queen. That's what black women said. I didn't make them say it. They sit up there and right now, they will back up a woman by the name of Kamala Harris. They said, she's a black woman like us. You mean that woman that called herself an Indian just prior to the election? You mean that woman who married to a white Jew and he got 5 kids and none of them by her? You mean that woman? But yet if Kamala Harris was a black man and he had a white wife, you think he would have been able to be vice president? No, he wouldn't have been able to be vice nothing. And then I'll give you one last one. You got a woman, you got Angela Davis sleeping with white men and white women, yet they still back that woman up. Then you got a woman by the name of, what is that woman's name that write all them books that they say, Shall I Rise? What's that woman's name?
God damn it. I know you talk about it, write the poetry, right?
Okay, she married 2 white men, and yet they still quote this woman like she the greatest thing on earth. Maya Angelou, thank you. And so I'm not going to believe that we are the same because they quickly jump off us and then tell us that whatever somebody else can give them is better than us. I ain't never heard no man say to his kid, you black as hell and need to stay out of the sun. I ain't never heard no black man say my kid got good hair and play in their hair and say they need baby hair. I ain't never seen no single father say, I need to put a weave in my little girl hair so it'll look better. But you know who I have heard say that? Them. And they fight for it. If you stand up right now and say, I wish that black women, I've said it. Here's what I say. When you wonder why I would hate a group of people, when I tell them that they look better naturally and they tell me you hate your mama, when they tell me you hate yourself and got a little dick because I say they look better naturally, how is that even an argument? Most people, if they claim they want a black man to want them, if one says it, they should say, that's a good brother. That means I have to do less work to look like myself. Why do I want to have someone who's going to make my daughter feel bad about herself? Because when my daughter goes to one of these integrated schools, they see the white girls and then they mama come in there with same blonde straight hair and they got 2 plaits on the side and 1 in the back. They already hate themselves, and you got women who are willing to push it on their kids. Hell no, we ain't the same. And hell no, I'm not going to sit up here and say these women need somebody to give them protection with correction. Is that what you said? Protection with correct? What did you say?
I said we can correct them and protect them is what I said.
Okay, so let me tell you one. You said they with the correction, they need protection too. But most of these women seem like the only thing they want is erection and dereliction, because that is the reason why we got a whole lot of damn kids.
Tommy, you a pastor. Tommy, you is a goddamn pastor. I don't care what you say. Yo, you is a goddamn pastor. Because you were mode just now. I ain't mean to stop you. But when you dereliction and erection, bro, I'm right there, man. But now, if I could just jump in there,
you got the floor.
So now, with everything you said about the black woman, remember I said we fucked up. A black woman has stopped being a whore if we stop loving whores. That's black men. When you think about the Freakniks, when you think about right now with spring break, everybody going down to Atlanta and all these places to do what? To turn out black women. If we were to do the whole vilify thing that you did for black women, black men become pimps and pimp out our women. All of us are not excellent fathers. Some of us abandon our kids. We're drug dealers. It ain't black women that are drug dealers destroying the black community. It's black men that are drug dealers destroying the black. Predominantly. I ain't saying they ain't no, look at you. I ain't saying they ain't no black men.
Hey, come on, Darren.
Awesome. But
And they are wanting these men, though. So who's that?
Wait, let me
all
get
black men are drug dealers. Are you saying all black men are drug dealers?
no. I'm not saying that.
Are you saying all black men are breaking the law?
No, I'm not. But you
Well, then that means there are a lot of black men who aren't. Well, let me tell you something about a stat about these deadbeat dads.
hold on, Tommy,
Did you know that there are twice as many black women in the United States with children than black men? Did you know this?
that's fine. But we just listened.
No, you can't just skip that.
No, I'm not skipping it because I get all of the evils that the black woman is. I get
No. I'm saying I'm not even talking about evil. We got to call it what it is. You said that there are men who are deadbeats. I agree.
no.
But here's what you're not. You said you need to point. You said that things got to have some history to it.
No. What I want to show you. No, what I want to show you. I said we both fucked up. The black man and the black woman. We have both fucked each other over. But the only thing
We have twice as many black women with children than black men.
okay, no problem.
Is that possible?
But now here's your counter.
It would be 50-50.
Every time I say that we both fucked up, you make sure to point out what the black woman did. I'm not.
No, I'm saying she has more of the brunt of the blame. I am not going to say. If you say 50-50, it makes too many people say, well, then I don't have to hold myself accountable.
No. But if you want to say the woman is 60% and the black man is 40%, that's fine. But in a race of people, in the ethnicity of people, the black man is the pillar and the woman supports that pillar. The black man has to take the helm. So now I'm going to use my organization as an example. We have men in our school that were fucked up before they came into the school. We have black women in our school that were fucked up before they came into our school. And you know what we did to both? We corrected them. We told the black man the shit that he was doing wrong, how to correct himself, be a better father, have a job, learn to keep the law, stop being wicked and evil as hell. We taught the black woman to stop being an evil bitch to a man, evil bitch to her kids, all of that shit. And then what did we?
How'd that work out?
It's beautiful. Like if you want April 20th in North Carolina, I'm about to tell you. In North Carolina, I got your number. April 20th, we having a Passover. You can come see how beautiful it is, and you're gonna see a sea of black women. That
You better not do like Sinetta, invite me somewhere and I get punched in the back of the head. I'm tired of falling for the okie doke. I'm tired of falling for the banana in the tailpipe.
Tommy, you can be my special guest. I'll be your escort. You'll be in the safest place you can be. But what you'll see is resurrected black men and black women. And that correction with protection, not the erection that you added to it, but the correction with the protection. I think I'm gonna use that. The correction with the protection. You're gonna see that in full effect. And you know what you're gonna say? Man, these Israelites got it together. These Israelites did something that I've never seen. They corrected the black woman, and look how beautiful she is.
No, but hold on. Here's what I gotta say.
Before I give it back to you, I just want
to say that one of the first groups that ever showed me love, ever, was you cats.
Most High in Christ.
That's why I never had a problem with y'all. Y'all were like,
Tommy, now you here, we're gonna fix you too. We're gonna fix you too. We'll correct you too, and then the black woman will get corrected, and you'll be like, God damn. Now, and you'll still talk about the black woman, but you can talk about the black woman when you corrected and protected. If you corrected and protected, you could talk about the black woman. You can talk about.
But I am though.
You say who?
Hold on. I am though. Let me tell you something. You know how many black women in my life right now depend upon me for damn near everything that they have.
You say that again.
Say that again. Know my business. You know why? Because if you let them know your business, look how they tried to destroy my life. Everything they find out and know.
Listen, if I don't want to stop you, but I want to tell you something. When you say destroy you. Like I go through that. Like I've had people. I have a daughter that has Down syndrome, right? I have people that try to exploit that and say she can't come around my organization, even though she can, even though she does. Talk about me, I mean, like a dog. So I get exactly where you're coming from. So I understand that part, but you still gotta correct and protect. Because even Christ, if we both believe in Christ, Christ said, remember when they hated you, that they hated me first. Right. They killed a man that did nothing but give them the solution of correction for protection. Right. But he didn't stop.
You know, and I'm not, but wait a minute, that's what I was trying to tell you. But even though they tried to do all this, I didn't, because I know that what I'm saying has to be worth something. Because just like they said, let me kill Christ.
Mm-hmm.
These niggas that's up here talking about selling drugs and fucking hoes, these men make it. They love them. These women that you talked about when you said these men selling drugs, do you understand that men can go one of two ways? If you are sleeping with men who are doctors right now, if the fine bitches said, I will only fuck niggas who have a doctorate. You know how many thugs will leave the street and go get a doctorate? Because they want that fine woman. You know how many men don't even like sports like that, have still played the sports because they know the women want a fucking athlete. You know how many men have tried to rap like King Von said, I rap because these bitches like rappers.
Now you know
He
what that says, but you know what that says though, that they weak on the women, and that got to get corrected so they can.
Ooh, say it again. Say it again.
That they weak on a woman.
So when I talk about it, when I talk about it, I say, I know you are. Just like how I speak about if white people are able to manipulate us, I can't keep blaming them. If women are able to manipulate us men, I can't keep blaming the women. The men must be weak. That's exactly what I've been getting at. So my song was saying that. So we can tell men we're weak if they run up on the women like this. Nobody says, but you a man, you ain't supposed to be putting us down like that. No, I got to call it what it is. It is a weakness. And if I don't call it a weakness, you're going to think it's okay to still do it.
Now, I just want to add this stat too, because you was talking about with the white women. Somebody just sent me this black marriage in 2021. 93% of black women have a black husband. And so I just want to, you know.
Yeah, which is a shame that they would then cheer for not getting one. If 90, think about it. Mm-hmm. That means
only 7% is messed up. In this particular case,
that's all I'm pointing out. That because let me tell you who the black woman only has the black man. She don't have nobody else.
Fact.
Ain't nobody trying to save her, which is why she always talks shit when a black man
saving her though.
No, but I'm saying somebody else saving her from us. Remember what they did in the 80s? You might not be as old as me. I'm an old man. I'm 48.
I'm 49.
Okay, then you know. In the 70s and 80s and early 90s, what did black women do to black men on public television in front of millions of audiences?
Oh, they was independent. That's what I was talking about with the
they told them that we were drug dealers, gay, got STDs, we don't work, they're more educated than we are, they're having a hard time. And they were telling the white man all day in front of the world. They told the white man.
That's like the pregnancy of the feminist movement, like the 70s, 80s, and the 70s and 80s was like the incubation of we about to hate black men. We about to promote it. That's what I was saying earlier about the feminist movement. Like that Color Purple, the author of The Color Purple was also with a white man. And that goal was to vilify. So she made Danny Glover be a woman beater. You got them sleeping with the underage girls, all of that, so that when we would look at a black man, the black man would be looked at as nothing, not even realizing, like you said, the black woman need to wake up and understand all she has is a black man. And who
wrote The Color Purple?
Say again?
Who wrote The Color Purple?
A black woman.
Uh-huh.
That's what.
So let me get this straight. Uh-huh. On the internet in 2024, or when I started 2009, they can't handle a black man talking about them that way. And yet we had to sit there and watch The Color Purple.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get to go off on them. We didn't get to go off on them when Oprah was on television talking about black men ain't shit. We had to eat it. Almost every time they put us down, we had to eat it. But now all of a sudden, we got to be nice to them. Where's the logic in that?
Because here's the tweak I'm going to tell you. When you out there correcting them, you got to offer the protection. You got to say, we'll destroy because we allowed like you gotta tell that black woman she allowed the white woman to manipulate her. She allowed herself to be manipulated. When you have to damn near.
But she want to be the white woman. We don't sit up here and try to get the awards the white man does, but she trying to get every award the white woman gets.
Now we do gotta add though, a part of the reason she want to be a white woman is because black men love white women too.
That is not true.
Cap.
Even when we get money, we still marry black women over white women, and we have an opportunity when we got money.
So now the percentage
with them.
Now remember, 93% of black women got a black husband, so that's 7. So there is it's a higher percentage of black men marrying black women. That's true. But now let's go back to the propaganda that's pushed. The propaganda that's pushed on the just like the propaganda that's pushed on the social media and on the
like that propaganda you just pushed saying that black men love white women.
That's what I'm about to say.
Propaganda, bro. Most black men you know is with a black woman. Most black men you know be lusting after black women online. We don't be lusting after white women.
But I'm saying it for a reason. I said that to counter you saying about the black woman, and this is why. Because when I pointed out 93%. You didn't focus on the 93, you focused on the 7.
No. I was saying, why do they cheer? I was focusing on the 93%. So a black man with a black son or a black daughter gotta watch his black wife sit and watch TV cheering for this girl talking about they kid got beautiful hair. Why would you say that in front of me and my child with you?
No, now, so I don't really know too many black women. Just like you say, I don't know a lot of black men with white women. I don't know a lot of black women that push that narrative. I don't.
How many black women you know with weave? That's bone straight.
But now weave is
bone straight.
You said who? Bone straight?
Bone straight.
So now,
blonde hair.
So now when it comes to weave, now just for criteria purposes, weave is not my thing, right? But weave is just the hairstyle. The only things when it comes to weave is or hair period is when we get to the blonde color. I do believe I don't think that a woman getting a weave or a wig that's a different style. I don't really look at that bad because white people aren't the only people that have different textures of hair. So I don't really look at that bad. I do look at blonde hair though. I do look at
red and pink. You'd rather walk around looking like a troll doll than a regular black chick. Yes. And when it comes to when your hair ain't done, you'd rather put on a bag on your head and walk out in public than let the world see your actual hair.
I want you to see something, Tommy. I want you to see something within yourself. And I don't know if this is just from personal experience or not. When I try to make it even about black men and black women and what we do wrong and correct them, you abandon the niggas.
Because I told you I don't believe it's even, so I won't do it. Remember, we're supposed to be on opposing sides. If I already told you I don't think it's even, why would I not?
You said that blacks are. See, I think that all of this shit is the white man's fault. You think it's our.
I just told you the German, the women when they got taken over by the Germans, they could have left their Jew men. Or they could have left without their material possessions.
When our women was getting raped by white men, they still stayed with their black man, and the black man
had nowhere else to go. White men have never offered to let black women come and displace their women ever.
But that's the point, though.
Name a group that's offered to displace their women for black women. Name one.
They shouldn't, but I don't think they should.
I just said so. Then you can't say they stayed with us. The point of the story I told you was those men wanted to keep those women.
Right.
They thought that if they told them you can't take your possessions, that those women would be materialistic and stay.
But the point
those women said you can keep it.
Got you. But whereas those women got a choice, there was never a choice given to black men or
black women did have a choice. You just said it. You said they gave black women a choice to kick the man out. And
No. But that's okay. But you're jumping the part of history that I'm not talking about yet. I'm not talking. You're right about that in the 70s, but I'm talking about during the time of slavery up until integration is the timeline that I'm talking about.
But you said that we stayed married in a greater rate than them during the time of Jim Crow and during the time of segregation. You
Right.
said this.
And
So we
during
don't
those
have to go back to slavery.
No,
we
no,
got to
I'm
go to
sorry. If you
So
just take
what destroyed the numbers?
If
What
you-
destroyed the numbers of we stayed together at a higher rate than anyone else in the United
what
States?
destroyed
And
those
then it
numbers,
failed.
I'll
What
tell you.
destroyed it?
What destroyed those numbers was civil rights
Mm-hmm.
leaders that wanted to integrate. So now you have to start with the black. So Martin Luther King's dream.
You said the feminist movement.
No, at that time,
If
I said
we had
the same.
stayed with the civil rights movement, the civil rights was still for blacks to stay together.
Hell
the
no.
feminist movement was for blacks to separate.
Right.
And you quoted the young lady by the name of Shahrazad Ali, who
Right.
also
Who
did it.
also
So
said
you
the same
cannot
thing.
now reverse field and say it was civil rights, because
I
civil
said
rights
two
still had us
things.
together.
Before I didn't say civil
Listen,
rights first, but I did
buddy.
say two things. I said the drug epidemic and the feminist movement was the two things in the 70s that separated the black man and black woman. That's what I said initially, because they flooded us with drugs. That's when the Nixon era and the Reaganomics era came and did that. The reason why I highlighted civil rights, because you said that the family was together, and what separated or marked the separation of this family being separated was integration, which was led by the civil rights movement. That's the only reason I brought up the civil rights movement right then. But as far as what separated the black man and the black woman was drugs and the feminist movement. That's what I said initially. But my initial point was there was never anything that they gave a black man or black woman to be separate from each other, ever. We've never had that opportunity. It's always just been us. So the only thing that can fix us is us. We don't need a white handout. We don't need an Asian handout. We don't need no handout. But we do have to have compassion on each other. We have to stop the barking. We like two pit bulls in a goddamn cage fighting each other, and the white man owned both pit bulls, and he the only one that gets rich. So whether the black woman does more, if the black woman pit bull dominates the black pit bull, the white man still gets the prize. If the black pit bull dominates the black woman pit bull, the white man still gets the prize. How about we just don't fight each other? If we didn't fight each other,
Hold on, I get it, and I've offered to do that, but like you said, with correction.
okay, give me that. Give me your offering. Give me like your correction for
No.
like.
I told him, I said, let me tell you something. As a psychologist, one of the things you need to do if I'm sitting down and I'm talking to a couple, a married couple,
Right.
what I would tell you is this: here's what's going to happen. I'm going to allow this man to tell you everything that he does not like or that makes him uncomfortable or the reason why he's here. And what you're going to do is have to listen. Then I'm going to allow you to do the same thing. Then after that, I'm going to talk to you both individually. Then I'm going to bring you back, and what we're going to talk about is a solution to a perceived problem, a solution to a real problem. And we're going to talk on that scale. And you know who typically has the want to do it and who has the want to argue it?
Who?
The men. Because most men literally just want to be heard.
Right.
And the women have already been heard. They want to control. They don't want someone else. That's why if you notice when you're in a relationship with a woman and you typically say, let's go get outside help, who's the first one to say, we don't need it? Let's go talk to your mama about what we arguing about. Hell, let's talk to my mama. Let's talk to my daddy. Let's talk to my brother. And they will say no. And as a matter of fact, they'll make it seem like you weak for trying to get somebody else's opinion, because they want to be able to say what they say to you and not have the public or anybody else see how they speak or how they treat you. I was on a show today with a black woman from England. That black woman came on and she was supposed to be respectful because the gay man up there couldn't beat me by himself. So he brought that woman up there. I said, go ahead. The guy said, you sure you want to talk to two of them? I said, I'll talk to any of them. When she knows, the first thing she asked me, how old are you? Are you with a woman? She asked me all these personal questions.
Right.
Did I get mad? I answered them. And I knew exactly what she was trying to do. She was trying to use an excuse of, oh, that's why you say that, or that's why you do that. But I answered all her questions. Then the thing I said, ma'am, let me ask you, how old are you? How old is your child? Did you have it out of wedlock? I don't have to answer that. I said, see how you did that, ma'am? I don't know you, but you wanted to ask me personal questions to gauge where I was. Yet when I tried to do the same thing to you, this is what you did. As a matter of fact, when we have conversations with women, they'll say you got a little dick, ain't had no pussy, which is weird from a group of people who want you to be faithful. How are you going to measure my manhood by how much pussy I get? You didn't get mad when I'm trying to go out and get as much pussy as I can. Last I checked, when I watched Pac-Man, this nigga got measured by how many motherfucking pellets he could eat. So he was trying to eat as many pellets as he could. So if I'm getting measured by how much pussy I get, hearing that from a queen speaking like that, calling each other bro, yeah, I'm going to say that there's a problem here. One of them feels like they're entitled. And when they're entitled, they talk to you any kind of damn way. Like what happened up there in New York when those two twin girls ended up getting stabbed and they sit up there and say, oh, it's because a man asked for their phone number. And when he said no, he stabbed them. I said to a woman, I said, first off, if a guy's drunk and irate, why wouldn't you walk off? Why would you argue with a drunk and irate person? Do you know what this woman said? You got a little dick and probably beat women. What the fuck does that have to do with what I said was common sense as a female? Why are you constantly trying to argue with niggas? I've been up in New York. I watched them bitches try to sit up there and talk shit to the nigga. I know you ain't tried to get my number with your ugly ass and them shoes. And then you get mad when a nigga that you raised to be emotional because he didn't have no daddy. So you raised him that way. He acts that way. Well, the video came out and it showed. Them black girls didn't just get asked for their number, and it was 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. Why were they out there anyway? But at the bodega, guess who almost got killed? Their brother, because their brother was trying to protect them. And guess who wouldn't leave? Them. They kept arguing with the man, arguing with him until he finally stabbed them. Now, who does that? But if I say that, I'm an abuser instead of someone that's trying to protect you. But I got daughters. And you know what I tell my daughters? Don't try to fight men. They're stronger than you and they're faster than you and they're more athletic. Smile. Walk off. You know, most of the time when I try to talk to white women or you try to talk to white women or anybody try to talk to white women, just say hello to them. You know what they are? Pretty fucking friendly. You know why?
You said white women?
Yes. I'm in the South. Maybe they ain't like that up in New York. I'm in the South. In the South, I remember when I was in college and I would try to talk to a white girl and be like, let a nigga talk to you. You know, can I get your phone number?
White women out there, Tommy?
Yeah, man. I used to only play in the snow. You know why? Because when I was little, I was told I was too black to date. Nobody wanted to have kids as black as I am.
So you abandoned a black woman for a time?
What do you mean abandon them? No, my kids are black. My point is, when I was a kid,
I said for a time. I didn't say you abandoned. I said
I didn't abandon them. They abandoned. You said I abandoned them.
For a time. Like for a time. Like let's say for a time.
No, but I can't abandon them if they didn't want me. We never say that about black women who tell you, I'm only with a white man because the black man didn't want me.
I do. Listen, one thing
you can't abandon something that doesn't want you. You can't abandon it.
You met the right one. That's a blessing. Listen, the woman don't want you.
I'm not gonna spend my damn life. When y'all say that kind of stuff, you encourage black women to mistreat black men. When you say you're abandoning them and you ain't found the right one, it shouldn't be damn hard.
Black women, it is.
Hold on, but it shouldn't be that damn hard. Come on now. By that logic, you know how many white people it is? So no matter how many white people treat you bad, look for the good one.
Hell no. I don't trust no white people like that.
Get that in the background. He knows. Your man is laughing.
Getting the kick out of you.
He know I'm telling the truth. If you're going to tell me to go through that shit with black women, then you should go through that shit with whites.
Hell no. Because
then I ain't going through it with them. And we need to teach them. Wait a minute. You said we need to teach them to not be as difficult with each other. It shouldn't be that damn hard. I don't know if you've ever seen the Quentin Tarantino movie, The Hateful Eight, when my man Warren, who played by Sam Jackson,
right?
When the other guy said, "You mean to tell me you don't bring them in with the handcuffs on?" He said, "No, I'd rather shoot them. I'd rather have them be dead, and I can bring them in and still get the reward money." Mm-hmm. He said, it shouldn't be that easy. He said it shouldn't be that hard either. I don't work that damn hard to get my paycheck. We should not have to work that damn hard to be with each other. That's the whole point of what you said about Jews. Jew men don't have to sit up there and go through all that fucking embarrassment just to find one Jewish woman. That's insane. And too many black men have had the story of being insulted by black women for just finding them attractive.
What I always say, and I want to respond to some of the things you said, but what I always say is that the black man has been beaten down to powder. Like the black man is the one species on the planet Earth that you can't dog him enough. And
I like your homeboy. He need to be just always in the back. I like this nigga. I do.
But
he all right with me.
you can beat them, like you can beat the black man down into powder, and it's all good. It doesn't matter. You can vilify him. It doesn't matter if it's the black woman doing it, the white woman, the Asians. Like I remember what you said about Kobe. I remember when Kobe died, and I think it was Gail that was still trying to bring up the so-called rape charge.
Yes.
Right. So I totally get that. But I wanted to touch on something you said. You said something about the counseling part. And this is where I have to talk about my school again, because I counsel, so I have to study and read a lot of psychological books and stuff like that to do the counseling. So I get exactly what you talk about. I would have to disagree with you that women don't want counsel, because I counsel a lot of them. But what I also would say is that within that counsel, you actually fix them. Like we fixed a lot of marriages. We fixed a lot of women that are bipolar. Like men are destroyed and stressed. They grow up without a lot of them are effeminate, especially this generation. Like you said, you older like me, so we at least grew up in a generation of time where even if your father wasn't around, there was some type of father figure that was around that instilled some type of principles in you. Whereas these generations, because they grown up by their mamas, definitely, because they brought up by their mamas, they acting like they mamas. Now I'm not talking about my generation.
No, I know exactly what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So the fault.
I used to tell people, look, I myself, as a black man, had a lot of traits like my mama because I was raised by my mama.
Right. Exactly.
I remember sitting and watching myself one time at Popeyes, and I was sitting up there getting ready to order something. I think I was like 16, and I was just standing there like this.
Yeah, and you had your hand on your hips and everything.
Yeah, I'm sitting up there, I'm thinking, wait a minute. I had to notice. I think, act, and believe almost like a woman because that woman has told me, and I've seen that. You know how many black boys put their feet in their mama's high heel shoes?
Right.
Because ain't no daddy around.
Right.
You know how many little black boys, instead of watching their daddy shave, they watch their mama put on makeup?
Mm-hmm.
Why you think them little gay boys do better makeup than women do?
That's sad.
There was a reason for this, bro.
And this is why, with the correction and the protection, the black man has to lose the effeminate side that he has,
yes,
which comes from being raised by a single mother. Whether that single mother,
you gotta use that masculine side of her, which is beating that man down, to accept that role.
Say that one more time.
Most black men are afraid of black women to even approach them. We have to either be that weird nigga at the gas station who just don't give a fuck about being turned down and he walk up to everybody out the blue, or we're afraid because we know she's not going to say, like the white girls used to tell me if they weren't interested, oh, that is so sweet. I'm sorry, I got a boyfriend, but you are so handsome. Not black women. The black woman told me I was old and crusty today and didn't even know who I was. That was her fucking response. First response is you ugly or you old or something. Now, why is it that this group of people want to try and destroy you as a man? This should not be a thing. We should not get to the point of where I'm trying to address you. How many times have you seen black women try to expose Nick? That's why you was in my DMs, nigga.
I mean, but
you ain't never seen a white woman do this, and niggas be in white
cap.
Women's DMs.
Now that's cap. Now I don't agree with that because I think white women and white men are like the biggest exposers and liars to exist, which goes back. And I don't want this part to be missed. Everything that we're talking about of black women oppressing black men comes from them learning from their white counterparts, come from them mimicking that lifestyle. Even using us for sex comes from the white woman, because that's what the white woman uses the black man for. The white woman uses the black man like a rented mule for sex. That's all they want. They love to have the black man as their.
And yet, it's a lot of black men ain't never had white pussy. If it was as prevalent as you say it is.
Let me just say this real. Tommy is not gonna let the black man be talked about. And
no, I'm just saying, I want to speak truth. If this is prevalent, why is it so many black men have never had white pussy?
But
that is all.
But that same argument can be said for like the numbers of black men.
There's a lot of black women have had white dick,
They just ain't had no white boyfriend.
No,
I know white boy. His white boys will tell you now. There's a reason why ghetto gaggers exist, but not Negro gaggers.
Listen, the argument of black men and black women dealing interracially is not as high as people think on either side.
Right.
Thank you. At least we agree there.
Yeah, remember, if you say something that's factual, I'll agree with it. I never argue a fact.
Thank you. But the oppression that causes the friction between black men and black women can only come from one place. If you put us in a welfare state, if you put us in a drug condition state, if you put us in poverty, and then now we become enemies to each other, the only solution, like most people, like I'm looking at the chat right, and people are saying like Cat, talks about the white person a lot. Even you said in psychology, when you have the married couple there, you have to point out the root of the problem. And once you can recognize the root of the problem, you can look at the pitfalls to how you fell into that root so that you can avoid said problem. So if we don't recognize the white man and the tactics that he's put in place, you mentioned how they used to drop guns. I think you mentioned they dropped guns in Chicago, which is true. You can hear the stories of them dropping guns in alleyways in black neighborhoods. Now, does that mean that we had to go grab them? No, it doesn't. So now we had
to shoot each other when we got them.
Right, exactly. But so now once we go and try to fix that problem, we got to say the problem was the white man putting the guns there first, and then us picking up them guns and then saying, I'm going to shoot him for it.
Yeah, but that's not a problem. That's what I'm saying. That's not a problem.
That is,
you know what a gun is? Hold on, let me tell. No, it isn't. Let me tell you why. Do you know what a gun? Do you know what a gun is? It's the same thing a knife is. If white people drop pans, knives, and forks in black neighborhoods, and instead of becoming chefs, we started killing each other with them. If they pass out guns, every black person could now have a free gun that they did not have to go and buy and protect their home.
But that's what I'm trying to break down for you psychologically. That's what oppression is. When you're getting oppressed, as we've been getting oppressed, that's why I gave examples. That Little Rock 9, you want me to play the video? Like that little.
That's what stupidity is.
No. Listen,
you can't just keep using the excuse. No. They gave me a tool and I used it.
I'm not even talking about. I'm not just talking about the tool. I'm talking about the mental oppression that they put us in. That little girl that was forced to go to a high school of whites by her family. Was forced to go to that school because they're trying to integrate with the people that never wanted to integrate. And as she's getting oppressed, when she comes home, she takes out that frustration on her family. They don't even know why she's taking the frustration out on them. She even said herself, I would have been nicer to my brothers and sisters if I wouldn't have went to that school and been oppressed. So then you take the adults. That's why I gave the joke that Richard Pryor gave about getting pulled over by cops. And what did he say? You go home and beat your kids because you're going to take it out on somebody. As we're getting oppressed by this system, you have to take the, I'll go even further. You see how I said I like football, right?
Mm-hmm.
During slavery, you know why they came up with sports? They came up with sports as a way for black men and women to get that frustration out, because they knew if they didn't channel that frustration out, that they would have an uprising.
That is not, I am not going to let you rewrite history. First off,
that is fact.
White people, first off, there's a thing called the Greeks and the Romans.
No,
and
I'm talking about sports for.
You said they came up with sports.
Okay.
Basketball didn't exist during slavery.
Okay, so I'll be specific.
Nor did football exist during slavery.
You know what did exist? The boxing exists. You can get a good book called $40 Million Slave, where in the $40 Million Slave book, it would tell you how they would let slaves fight each other on 4th of July. They would have games that they would let.
Yes, the boxing existed in Europe.
Well, listen, know what I'm saying? And hear what I'm saying. When they would have the games that they would let the slaves specifically play, Frederick Douglass wrote that he was against the sports because he said it dulled the fighting spirit in the slaves. But the slave master knew he was letting them get this energy out. I'm not saying that they invented sports for slaves. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, so you're not saying exactly what you said.
That's what that. No, I think you took what I was saying. I thought that you would understand what I was saying.
No, I take you literally until you tell me you mean something else.
I'll be super specific for you. The reason why they let the slaves play sports games was so that they can exert that energy out of them. Because and Frederick Douglass, this is a quote from Frederick Douglass. He was against the games because it dulled the fighting spirit within the slaves. And so that's why they created them, because you cannot oppress a person and have that anger built up in them and they not want to get that anger out. They're going to get
my man Space Negro said Native Americans had war games, which is very true, aka sports. Almost every community had them, and as a matter of fact, it was a rite of passage to make your men stronger, not weaker. The gladiator games, all these things were to make the men.
What y'all do is look up what I just said.
I hear you saying that someone said it, but you can take the same tool. I know, but I'm saying, but you can take the same tool, just like you said. This guy, like when you point out that he said, "Hey, the cops will beat your ass, and the only thing you could do is go home and beat your kids." Well, some people went home and the only thing they taught their kids was to be cops.
Was to do what?
Some people did that.
You said some people did what?
Some people taught their sons. They said, "I want you to be a cop." Just like a lot of Mexicans get the talk to like dogs in America when they first come, working shit jobs. Now, it could turn them into alcoholics and make them horrible people, or it could make them pass on a business to their children so their children never have to do it. Pressure, bust pipes, but it makes diamond. We can't keep talking about how many pipes it busted and refuse to talk about how many diamonds it made.
But we cannot ignore all of the divisive tactics that the white government put in place to destroy black people.
I get it, because the white man's smarter than us. I agree with you.
White man is smarter than us. Yeah, like Chris Rock said,
he can keep cunning us in the stuff he is.
The white man had a 400-year head start. We the only one that ain't never been let out the dungeon.
When we see a man that can talk women into fucking him and paying his bills, what do we call that man?
A pimp.
And what do we look down on him or up on him? If he can sit up there and talk 5 women, we look up to a man that can get 5 women to marry him.
Well, when I was in the world, I would. Well, you say we can get what?
5 women to marry.
Well, it's not unlawful to have more than one woman, though.
I'm just saying, if I had 5 women living in my house right now, they were cooking and cleaning and
I
very
would call
respectful.
you an Israelite.
That's all I'm saying, and I'm trying to be one. That's why I got to. That's why I'm up here talking to you. When we get out the phone, I'm trying to get the pamphlet, brother. I'm trying to get the pamphlet. You hear me?
But that ain't pimping, though. That like pimping is
pimp. I'm gonna take care of them. I'm gonna love them. I'm gonna make sure that they well taken care. I'm not gonna mistreat them.
There you go.
And I want 5 black women, and I want 5 natural black women, and I want 5 black women about my color. And what do I want with them?
I got a couple of. Give him a hand. Give him a hand. I got a couple of.
Tell them to hit your boy up. But my point is, here's what I'm trying to do, though. I know that the only way to be a man is to say, no matter what got me in this hole, I'm climbing out of it. If I keep on talking about I'm in the hole and selling other people that I'm in the hole, we're gonna fuck around and make a city down here in this hole. Now, if we make a city down, here in this hole, we're gonna be proud of this city, and we're gonna be so proud of it that the people on the top gonna want to come down, because I'm a southerner. And guess what? White people used to give us bullshit to eat and then turn around and want to eat that shit from us. You can go to a nice restaurant right now and get them to they'll sell you some, what is they call, bone marrow. They used to make fun of niggas sucking the bone marrow out. Now we done turned shit into shinola. Now the thing is, we as black people, if we believe we're smarter than them, then we're not going to publicly keep telling them that they're oppressing us. When you tell I shouldn't be talking about what black people do publicly, cool. Well, we shouldn't be talking about what white people do publicly.
No, I don't.
And I want to make sure y'all know this, because I didn't. If y'all enjoy the show, y'all make sure y'all do the world a favor and hit that Cash App. We have been working our ass off for y'all. I ain't said nothing about it the whole time. I was like, Cash App and Cap Tazaryach, you have a Cash App. Tell them what it is.
Yeah, my Cash App is $Tazaryach. I'll change my name on the StreamYard.
Yeah, do that. And especially next time we do this, because we got to do that. again. The people want it, we gonna do
Oh,
it.
definitely. I'm definitely down to do it. I mean, I knew that this would be the bond when we got together. I mean, even when we talk, you know, I mean, what I agree with you on, I'm not gonna just I wouldn't disagree with you for the sake of it. I'd be a dishonest brother. So with points that you make, I'm gonna agree with. So it's definitely a good conversation. But what I do want to say while I have this mic is that this is when I highlight the Israelite School and Universal Practical Knowledge, aka ISUBK, because as we're sitting here talking about black problems, we're talking about the white man. This is not me on a can just complaining about the white man and taking no action. What we do in ISUBK is point out the root of the problem, we point out our problem, and we point out the solution. And if Tommy comes to my Passover in Durham, North Carolina, April 20th, he can go live so he can show y'all the sea of beautiful black men and women that have all changed their lives by hearing the solution. Hearing the problem and then hearing the solution. Because a lot of times what we don't want to face is ourselves. Like Michael Jackson had a good song called Man in the Mirror. And a lot of times black men and black women don't want to face that you could be the problem. As much as we talk about the white man being a problem, we also are the problem. Now, we're just not the major problem. So for us, it's a hierarchy. The white man has to get the charge because he's the one that brought us over here and oppressed us since we've been over here. But we have to also take the charge second for allowing us to continue to be seduced in 2024 with all this internet and information that's going on. We still worried about a presidency, a governor, or mayor when Chinatowns get established, when they're not trying to get a president of the United States. They're not trying to get none of that, but they can have Chinatown. They can have their own town. They can have their own cities. So why can't we do the same? Because we had it. We had it at one time.
That's another thing that scares me because we do have, I've been out in California. There was a Africa town, a Liberia town. Like they all had the blacks who came from somewhere else.
Right.
They did together. And it appears that it seems like the blacks in the United States, because I talked about this, about what happened to Russia. I talked about it last night. I said, Russia is a bunch of ethnic groups together. Well, what happened when they broke down the Soviet bloc? All them ethnic groups had their own damn countries. They wanted to have their own. Blacks could have at any point in time, especially after the 70s, we could have said, we're all going to just slowly migrate to Florida. We're just going to keep.
And you know what they would have done? They'd have came to Florida and shot that shit up. The white man.
No. See,
you ever heard of the movie? You ever heard?
I'm not afraid of that. We got to not be afraid to die.
I'm not.
Because everybody else is.
No. I'm not saying
the white man that came from England, he wasn't afraid to die. The Protestants, literally their name is they protested against what was going on in England. We got to not be afraid to die. We can't keep saying, you know what they did?
But
we can't keep doing that. I don't, that hurts me that every time
I think you misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying it to not do it. I'm saying it so that we don't be naive to think that it won't happen. When them Protestants protested and separated, they didn't protest and separate and think that they was not going to have to fight. They knew that they was going to have to fight and prepared for the fight. So even wherever we were,
don't have to tell them they blew it up before. We should tell them we should be worried about them blowing it up now.
That's what I'm saying. That's
what I'm saying. That's a better thing to say than to go play the Patriots and say, you know, the last time they played us, they beat us. We don't need to say that.
No.
We need to say this iteration of the Patriots and this iteration of us, we can beat them.
You know how you got to say it? You know, the last time they beat us with this field goal, so we got to make sure they can't get to the 50-yard line. So but
it ain't the same team.
It ain't got to be the same team, but they could be the same. No, because shit, Tom Brady and them. First of all, Tom Brady and them cheated their ass off. Not, you know, I disqualify like 3 of them Super Bowls because they.
And yet your Giants beat them twice.
That's how you know we the shit. They wasn't.
Eli Manning, slow ass. Right. He went well when nobody thought he was supposed to win.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's why he's looked at, and Eli can smile all the rest of his life because he knew he was able to do something that people who are considered greater quarterbacks than him couldn't.
And that's how we are. We could smile.
That's what I mean. There are people who are greater than us, but we can walk out there and still be in the field. And you know what? We can make them proud.
That's right.
Every time you win a championship, the old heads be like, yeah, when we played, we didn't win, but we through them, we are champions too. And
Right.
that's what I keep saying, what blacks need to be able to do. We need to make our fucking daddies proud before they die. We need to make our granddaddies proud before they die.
That's
We
why
need to make our schools look up and say, look at what they're doing. What blacks weren't able to do, they were able to put it across the finish line. That's what we should be doing. There should be a Black Wall Street because we are building it because the ones who died didn't get a chance.
and that's what I
This
like
is no
about
excuse.
that's what I like about what we're doing under Commander Jenny Hanna, because we're building that. Like we're doing that in Houston. Like we have schools everywhere, like California, North Carolina, where we're gonna have the Passover here in New York, and that's exactly what we're building. And we don't believe in magic, so we don't expect it to just happen at the snap of a finger. It requires work. So we put that work in. And so when I have these type of conversations and people say, no, it's us, the reason why it's hard for me to believe that we're the problem is because we go out and fix that problem and we're good at it. Now,
So you get mad that I blame white women and black folks, but you blame white people.
no.
We both up just pointing the fingers, except that we both are saying this, which I do appreciate. At the end of it, we're still saying we have to move the ball forward.
Right. Yeah, it's our job to move the ball forward, but we have to recognize who the greatest enemy is. The
Black women.
No, the greatest enemy is white people. Listen, Tommy, you said he trying to sneak that in there. I said we gotta realize who the greatest enemy. He said, which is black people, and he said it low. He ain't saying
I just slid it right in there. They just slid it right.
He ain't saying amped up like he normally. No. That's just like white people work with the Arabs, even though they go to war with them. 9/11, and they claim war against the Palestinians. Even though the Palestinians, they still had to get the fuel and still had to work with them while they going to war with them. So as we go to war, like I have a business. Like I used to work in corporate America as a certified wireless network administrator. I'll tell you a funny story, Tommy. So my videos, I'll be like calling white man the devil, talk about Jews and everything. I'm working with,
they don't flag you.
listen, no. Let me tell you a wild story. So one day I'm working at the job, and my Puerto Rican brother comes up to me. He's like, yo, Tyree, man, I think they found out who you are. I said, what you mean? He said, they're playing your video in the room.
Hell no.
Y'all got to keep it down a little bit. So as they playing the video, I'm like, listen, I start shutting my laptop down because I just know I'm about to lose this job, Tommy. So I start shutting my laptop down, cleaning out. And so they call me in the office with the owner who's Jewish. So he's hearing me say all this anti-Jewish stuff. And he calls me in the office and he says, Tyree, because my born name is Tyree. So he's like, Tyree, we saw the videos and everything.
Oh, you said your born name. At first, I thought you said your porn name. I was like, what? I say you can't just sneak that on me like that.
No, I'm not you, Tommy. I ain't sneaking nothing.
Hey.
So I said my born name. So he's like, Tyree, we saw the videos and everything like that. He said, but you don't talk like that here. I said, no. I said, I don't talk like that here because this is just a workplace. I'm just here to do the job. And I actually kept my job. And so that's the point that I'm trying to make. Like,
white dudes were pretty nice. Because if it had been a nigga, he would have fired you if you said something against him.
Let me up the ante. It was only because I'm nice at what I do. I was the best. So because
blacks would care that you were nice. We've kicked out the nicest person out of our group because they said something we didn't like. We've done that.
I don't know.
Hold on. A person told me, people tell me all the time, the white man has bought you. The white man bought and paid for you.
That's what you talk about. You specifically?
Yes, they will tell me the white man has bought and paid me. That's why I'm doing what it is that I'm doing. And I always ask this question. If the white man's willing to pay for a mouthpiece and the black man has money, why isn't he willing to pay for a mouthpiece? Because if you told me I'm willing to work for the white man for crumbs, maybe if you gave me a couple more crumbs or maybe the same crumbs, you could have used my mouthpiece, which apparently is so good that I can have all these people running behind me. You could have used it to have me spitting your message. Because didn't you say that's what the white man does with the Arabs and everybody else? He say, if I know I can use you, then I'm going to use you. I'm not going to sit up there and then tell people, why are you going to the other side?
when you can pay that person to do it. They do it, and that's why they winning, because they don't sit up there and try to shame a motherfucker for taking the money. They understand that I will just pay you more.
So now, what you're talking about is a common theme amongst ethnicities. Every white person don't get along with every white person, just like every black person don't get along with every black person. Every Chinese don't get along with every Chinese. So we got to stop. That's white supremacy to try to highlight a black person wouldn't do this, because white people argue with each other all the time. White people argue with each other. White people fight with each other. White people sleep with.
That white person didn't fire you, and what you was doing was a fireable offense.
But that's an anomaly, because another job, when they had needed layoffs,
most black men who are online right now talking shit about whites, they get up and go to work at Amazon Prime and they don't get fired. They get up and work for whites. They don't work for a Negro. I'm not trying to be funny. Look it up. They work for a white man, and a white man knows exactly what they're saying, and yet they still keep their job. How is that? You don't have a whole bunch of these so-called pro-blacks online not having a job. You had black women who were pro-black who literally they found out they had white men behind the scenes because she hated these whatever. And then next thing you know, you found out she done got a white man. You're like, wait a minute, I thought you was Miss Pro-Black.
Again, now the stuff that you're saying, it's a flip of the coin. You got some black men that will hear somebody say something, and if they doing a job, and if it's another race of people, they'll keep them. And then you got some that won't. That's what I'm saying. Like,
we have very few black men that get a chance to work for other blacks. So we so pro-black, yet we still got to go work for whites when we get through being pro-black. And as a matter of fact, we pro-black with whites. We literally are bringing in white money on Cash App, on AdSense, on everything we're doing, talking about whites. Right. Yet it's helping feed us.
That's the freedom.
That's ironic.
But that's the freedom that we have. So again. And to show you that,
well, we have the freedom to build back Black Wall Street.
The Palestinians and stuff do the same thing. Though they hate white, we ain't the only people that hate white people.
Palestinians don't get a chance to sit over there on
here they do
on TV in Israel and talk crap about them and keep their job.
No, over here they do.
Over here
meaning like Palestinians got to watch their city get bombed and still got to go work for the white man.
Yeah, but the city got bombed by a Jew. Not America.
Bombed by America. Who
they don't have a who Palestinians don't have a city. That's why they're funding America. The Jews don't have a city.
But who funding America though? I'm screaming. Who funding the Jews? America.
Oh, wait, well, hold on. And then those Palestinians will come over here, make their money, and then send it back home.
I'm just pointing out that the same way they're oppressed and still over here making money, we're oppressed. It ain't like there's this place,
but they're not oppressed here. You saying they're oppressed in their land over there?
No. I'm pointing out that they still come over here and will still work over here. Now, if you start saying that
because they're not oppressed here,
right? And you know the difference with us, we don't have a place to go where we won't be oppressed.
Right. So then
they didn't take the land like the America divided. Helped the America and the British helped the Jewish man divide Palestine in half, bomb it, displace them. Nobody's ever done.
America gave us Liberia.
Hell no, they didn't give us no goddamn.
Yes, they did.
Did you see Liberia before America went in there?
Hold on. Did you see that area of land, Israel? They don't even have natural resources. They got to get the shit from somewhere else, but they still wanted that land. Wanted that land. Okay, so they knew it was a desert. It's a fucking desert.
You talk about Palestine when they got over there?
Yes, it is a desert, but they wanted their own home.
Now, when you do the history of the Zionist movement and how they got it, that's really the only piece of land that they could go that was accepted. Because America, yes. You said that. So America wouldn't accept them over here. British wasn't accepting them. Nobody was accepting them.
Like Liberia.
Right. So the only place that they could go was Palestine. But once they got there, they got extreme funding from the British and from America.
Just like blacks did in Liberia, except the black people who lived there, all of them kept using that money and enriched themselves instead of putting it to the people.
I don't know what you would have. Maybe you would have to show me what you talk about because I've never heard.
I'll show it to you.
Okay, blacks getting funding over there. But what I'm talking about is when it came time for us to be unoppressed, there ain't a point in history that black people that was brought over here as slaves have never been unoppressed. There's not a point in history where we have not. we've been getting senses of freedom, but every bit of freedom that we got, there's imprisonment. Whether you talk about the 13th Amendment, whether you talk about the stop and frisk, whether you talk about the drug epidemic that was specifically targeted to us, there's never been a point in time that we have not been oppressed. Hey, Tommy, I don't know how long you want to go. I got about maybe 10, 15 more minutes. I don't know.
Yeah,
about
I'm saying with you. That's why I was looking down. I get we both family men got to deal with.
Yeah, gotta yeah.
But we got to let them know that we're gonna do a part 2. We'll come up with a top continuation, but we got to do this because they want it, and I think that I really enjoy it.
I think it's been a beautiful, and
it's spirited debate, but no one disrespected the other.
I'm about to say, I think we prove we don't need no moderator, and this is two people that come from two different sides of the spectrum, but we was able to have a spirited debate. No fuck you, Tommy. No fuck you, Tazaryach, or no shit like that. And we was able to have a good ass debate and laugh. He said he won't.
Exactly.
Now I got to get him FOMO.
Exactly. And I called you Tazaryach. I did not use your porn name.
Look how he snuck that in. I don't have a porn name. I got to make sure I battle that, because if I don't say nothing, they're gonna sound like the shit. Cat doing porn. Look at the Tommy just said he got a porn name. I do not have a porn name.
And let me tell you something. This has really been fun because sometimes you talk to people, and like you said, we're on different sides. But I think the reason why I think it was fun, because I think both of us really care about the people that we say we care about. We're just approaching it two different ways. And I think that we can see that the other really means what they're saying.
Okay.
And sometimes when you talk to people, especially in this kind of forum, you start to realize, okay, somebody's just saying that shit to be saying it. They don't mean it. And then it becomes a discussion I don't want to have. Every time I know you're just doing something, that's why I can't talk to them simps. That's why it's hard for me to talk to brothers like Dr. Umar Johnson, because they know they're going to say shit that they don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
But then they won't talk to me anyway, because most people are afraid to do exactly what you are doing right now.
Right.
Most people talk about me. They're afraid to talk to me.
I agree. And I think I've never been afraid to go into any environment, to talk to anybody, because it's just a conversation. And I think everybody should be entitled to their opinion. I was having a conversation with a Jewish guy over the Palestinian-Israeli war. He has his opinion. I have my opinion. At the end of the day, I'm not about to, do no whole dissertation or nothing, anything like that about him. And I thought it was beautiful for us to have this exchange. And I agree with you that we should definitely do a part 2. I mean, I got your number, you got mine, and I think we should have this dialogue again. So I don't know if you want to close out or I can close out and then.
Yeah, I want you to go ahead and close out. Tell them where they can find you.
Okay.
Tell them, and then I usually play a song as we go out. But tell them
you gonna play the same song?
No, I'll play something else. I don't want to offend you. I always do it to start. Let you know what you're walking into. Let just everybody know what about to happen. But then see, it be different. Like I want you to think, oh shit, here it comes. But then when you start talking to me, because here's why I do things like this. Here's why I even started doing one-on-ones when everybody else didn't want to do it. My thought was, I know that in a snapshot, you can make a snap judgment.
Right.
Everybody who you make a snap judgment with, you should be able to hear them out and extrapolate why they even came to whatever it was. So we as Black people don't want to give each other a chance to have a long conversation. We like, I like you, within you said this, or I hate you, within you said that.
Right.
And we'll form lifelong standing opinions about somebody that we never met. And we'll then say, I don't want to talk to you because I don't want you to talk me out of the hatred I got for you.
Right.
And yet we'll listen to the white man. The white man can come and sit in our damn house, and we knew he'd been evil for years, but he can sit with your grandma and sell her insurance, sitting on the couch and eat chicken, and you'll still listen to that man. I think it is odd that we'll listen to someone who we believe oppressed us, but we won't listen to somebody who's oppressed like us. So that's why I started.
Yeah, that's right. All right, and I like that, and I thought it was a tactic to try to throw me off too, but I loved everything about that song. That song was crazy as hell, man. But I Tommy, I definitely appreciate the build. I want to thank my brother Ashaya Allen. He's the one that communicated with you at first that got this debate going. So shout out to that brother.
I love that brother. That brother needs to be everywhere.
Yeah.
He the star of the show. He had been the star of the show.
I appreciate that. For those that don't know, I'm Captain Tazaryach of ISUBK under Commander Jenny Hanna. You can find me on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Captain Tazaryach Podcast. I have another YouTube channel called Cross the Line Radio. You can find me on Twitter as well as Tazaryach. We have a website, isubk.com, that you can visit if you ever want to see our videos or get access to our literature or our websites or anything. I'm based out of New York, but we're all over the country. We're in the UK. We do a radio show on Thursdays at 10 o'clock. And I'm looking forward to the next time that me and Tommy can sit down and have another dialogue. Tommy, I appreciate you having me, man. Shalom.
Hey, I appreciate you coming as well. And
I got one more thing. I'm sorry if I could mention, Tommy.
Go ahead.
I have a business. I don't know how I forgot to mention my business. I have my own business. I'm a business owner. It's called Call Gas, which is named after my father. It's a business where I sell body scrubs, body oils, body wash, body oils, perfumes. They're fire. I have over 3,500 reviews on my Etsy page. I'm what you call a 5-star king. You cannot miss if you get the products. Also, you can find me on Amazon. I do sell on Amazon as well. All you got to do is just look up Call Gas. That's CARLGASS. I just wanted to mention that. Shout out to my rib for reminding me of that. And that's it, man. That's all I got, Tommy.
Nice, man. I don't want to tell people. You can make sure you go out and watch my movie on Amazon Prime. Rent it now. It's called A Fatherless America. You can also go to afatherlessamerica.com and watch it. Amazon Prime loves it. I think it's got a 4.7 out of 5, and on IMDb is like a 9 out of 10. And that was what people made a run for it to try to destroy it. Also, you can make sure you go to my website at tjskoc.com. Make sure you join the website. Show your brother some love. You know, they got me banned on every damn thing. So find me where you can. I'm going to make sure that I get the brothers' Twitter, YouTube, and everything on the website where you guys will be to go there, click on it, go straight to it. And I'm going to make sure you get this so you can put it on your channel. So I'll make sure I download this, compress it, give it to you so you can put it on your channel yourself. And I want to thank all of you guys for coming to join us, because let me tell you something. Without y'all two, we just talking.
That's right.
Without y'all joining us and saying, hey, whether you agree with him, you agree with me. I know most of y'all agree with me because I was right. But the point is,
there you go with them slip-ins, man.
Hey, when I was in college, I was the king of slipping it in. I'm telling you, boy. Woo!
Okay, pause. All right.
That's how you had to get it. Yeah, that's how you had to get it. But I tell you, what I really appreciate though is just I don't think anybody can watch this and find fault in this at the end of it. I think most people listen and watch this and will be happy at the end of it. I mean, like happy within their spirit. And I think that is the purpose of you going out and ministering to the people.
That's right.
This ministering, in my opinion, we brought the people the good word, even when the word was different from each person. I think everybody is smiling right now and glad that they did it. So I appreciate you for coming. We got to do this again soon.
Definitely. All right, take it easy, Tommy.
All right, take it easy, brother. And y'all take it easy too. We out.
Choosing how to react to this situation.
All right. And that's the showdown. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. He wasn't as bad. He wasn't good. Yeah.
That's 1,000.
Yeah. So I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. I try to bring these discussions and debates and subjects and everything. And Tommy's a funny dude. I do like the fact that we was able to have that dialogue. I'm definitely looking forward to the part 2. So y'all should look forward to it. We'll do a recap of some of this tomorrow on Cross the Line. Make sure y'all tune in live at 10 o'clock. I'm going to take it down now. So until next time, Shalom, Israel.